pomp and circumstance, the here it's homecoming in Kennesaw in the Conference USA as Middle Tennessee State makes its first trip to the Sept to take on KSU, a team coming off a big win and feeling good on a college football Saturday night. Nolan Alexander joined alongside the former conference champ Caleb O'Neill. And Caleb, you know, to win a championship, you have to get out to a good start in your opener.
That's exactly right, Nolan. And in the game of inches, momentum is paramount. And each of these teams have already seen that this year as they've begun to find their identity. And Kennesaw State seeming to have more formed one, and MTSU seeming to almost be there, but not quite. And we'll look forward to seeing how well it progresses today.
Well, when you look at an identity for each of these teams, you got to start with the quarterbacks. For Middle Tennessee State, it's the veteran Nicholas Vadiato, one of the best in FBS career passing yards. And for Kennesaw State, Amari Odom, the defending Conference USA Offensive Player of the Week.
And Odom has been through multiple programs in college football, been around a lot of fantastic coaches as well, and he's really seemed to find his home here in Kennesaw and is looking to flourish. Vadiato, he's been tossing the rock ever since he's been at MTSU. Third in FBS with over 8,000 career passing yards. Get on the wrong side of him in this Blue Raider offense, you might be in trouble.
For more on each of these teams and how they approach the Conference USA opener, here's the third member of our team, Lexi Bowden.
Yeah, guys, it's the first game of conference play for both of these teams. And earlier this week, I asked both head coaches, is there more pressure in the locker room or a different sort of conversation being had because it's the opening of conference play? And both head coaches surprisingly said no. KSU head coach Jerry Mack said each game has the same type of importance. They want to play to be the best version of Kennesaw State. And for head coach of MTSU Blue Raiders, Derek Mason, said he feels like the conversation about pressure has already been had. He just wants his team to play a little bit more complete football, play all 4 quarters to the best of their ability, and just execute. Guys?
Caleb, it's a great thought process from the coaches, right? You don't try to magnify the moment too much. Keep doing what you're doing. And, of course, you want to be able to execute better. And for both of these coaches, they feel like, hey, we've shown flashes, glimpses. We built upon it. As you said a minute ago, KSU a little bit more. But for Middle Tennessee, they feel like they're so close, that connection's almost there to something special this year.
And coaching staffs are always emphasizing and focusing on the next game. You're only as good as your next game, and no different today.
Opening kickoff from Britton Williams, and the Blue Raiders bring it out. And a nice return by Jawan Gaston. So now we get the veteran quarterback, Nicholas Vadiato. And Caleb, he's done it so well throughout his Blue Raider career. Here he is last week, his best game of the season in a loss to Marshall.
And they came up just short there at the end, but as you see here, it took the whole team, right? He's just running the offense, doing his job, throwing passes to receivers underneath, throwing jump balls in the corner, and even floating one out right there, just barely clearing it and allowing his guys to make plays downfield to make a difference on the scoreboard and ultimately in the game. And he's done that his entire career, Nolan.
Just a yard under 300 against the Thundering Herd. Vadiato, 1 touchdown away in his Blue Raider career. He has 52 of them. From tying Logan Kilgore for second all-time in Middle Tennessee State history. The only quarterback. There were 7,500 career passing yards. In the age of the transfer portal, you don't see that too much, Caleb.
You don't, and it's rare, and it's just, you can see him walking right there. Might as well have a golden sleeve on that arm right there. He's got a golden arm, been able to toss the rock, and the fact that he's done it consistently within the same program is a feat in and of itself.
Got an issue on the field. Not sure what's going on. They're walking the football back to re-kick. Well, Caleb, I'm a little lost here.
I am as well. There was no official communication there. That one baffles me a little bit.
Clearly a reason. They know it on the field. Nobody seems too upset, so why not extra football?
Hey, extra football at the beginning, you know. That's exciting. You normally only hope for it at the end, but today we get a little extra dose.
Just more anticipation for the Conference USA opener here between Middle Tennessee and Kennesaw State. I mean, Middle Tennessee is a team, that fans around Conference USA kind of circled could be a dark horse this year, second year under Derek Mason. But last week, it was Kennesaw State off to a 21-0 lead over Arkansas State, in which the Owls won 28-21. They caught the attention of fans around Conference USA in college football as Williams kicks it off for the second time today, and this one is taken by Gaston for a touchback. So assuming everything went according to plan there, we'll look forward to a 1st and 10 here for the Blue Raiders.
And I look today, Nolan, for each team to start fast. Just like you mentioned a minute ago, Kennesaw State off 21-0 early last week. The Blue Raiders, a little bit later in the game, got the hot hand. But I believe after talking to each staff this week and just kind of, you know, how football works, they've been emphasizing and just pushing to these guys, hey, we got to get down the field, we got to get in the box and convert red zone scores early and set the tone here to begin the game.
Real quick, just got word it was an offsides on the opening kick for Kennesaw State. So 1st and 10, Vadiato and the Blue Raiders, they want to get the ground game going to Jaquel Middlebrook. Felt like he's one of the best running backs in the league. And they go right to him on the handoff in the first play of the ball game. It's Adam Watkins on the tackle for KSU.
Yep, and right up the gut, establish it early and establish it often, especially when you're trying to build out and just grow your running game and allow it to set the tone for this game. Pick up a 5 yards to start the first play. That's exactly how you want to do it and what you want to see from your big guys up front and moving some dirt.
89 yards last week against Marshall on 6 carries. Also came thanks to a 72-yard rush. Vadiato, a lot of time here, rolling out to the left, being chased. He throws a nice snag by Najee Cox, and it's incomplete. Out of bounds, and it brings up a 3rd down.
Didn't seem to get a foot down there, but you see Cox here, watch his toes coming down inbounds. Nope, no shot. Great call there by the official and the officiating crew, and back to 3rd down. And Cox, it looked like Vadiato was going to the other side of the field, and Cox wasn't really prepared for that scramble drill, so might have had his spatial awareness off just a little bit, which could have led to that.
As a receiver, what happens in that situation? What are you taught to do?
Well, the scramble drill rules are universal across football. If you're shallow, go deep. If you're deep, come shallow. And if you're in the middle,
downfield, offense number 56. 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
Okay.
And
so a little bit delayed here, but an eligible player downfield is the offensive lineman E.J. Harris, who gets the start today, the Auburn, Alabama native.
And the laundry was in the dead center between the hashes, away from everything. Probably called it late. But anyways, in scramble drill, if you're shallow, go deep. If you're deep, come back shallow. And if you're in the middle, go lateral and mirror the quarterback, Nolan.
2nd and 10 now, following the penalty. Manson in motion, Amarian Walker. Vadiato gives to Middlebrook, slips out a tackle in the backfield, then shoots upfield to the 30-yard line, and the ball's on the ground. Middle Tennessee has not fumbled at all this year until that moment. Did they lose it and turn it over? The Owls recovered their first fumble of the season last week at home. This would be huge to open up the ball game.
Looking like they may know something before we do.
KSU's walking away from the huddle or waiting on the signal. And it's Tylon Dunlap who recovered it last week against Arkansas State in the first half.
The ruling on the field is the ball was fumbled, recovered by the defense.
So it is a fumble recovered by Kennesaw State. We get a look at the replay.
Based on that view, it looks like the ball's out to me, Nolan. And we heard the MTSU coaches talk about it as well as Kennesaw State, but MTSU mainly focused on getting 3 for 3, getting 3 turnovers. And unfortunately for the Raiders there, coughed it up and gave one to the Owls.
First fumble loss of the season for the Blue Raiders. And Kennesaw State, who entered the Arkansas State game last week without a turnover for a defense that had played well throughout the season, save maybe the second half at Indiana, comes up with another fumble recovery. And so the Owls take over here, Caleb, at the 30-yard line of MTSU, looking to go ahead on the opening drive much like they did a week ago.
And if you're the Kennesaw State staff here, you can't ask for a better opportunity. You get a big turnover, just sort of like they had last week. And then here, this is where you take a shot here on 1st or 2nd down, try to get a quick 6 and get your defense back out on the field.
Amari Odom at quarterback makes his 3rd straight start off the play fake. Escapes in the pocket. That's what he did so well a week ago. Over 100 rushing yards, a career high against the Red Wolves, and he scampers for about 5 there.
And Amari, 308 passing yards last week, tying the Kennesaw State single game record. Huge performance by that young man.
Meanwhile, Coleman Bennett brings a whole handful of Blue Raiders for a first down. Powers his way through the middle, and the Owls in this up-tempo offense quickly to the line of scrimmage. Odom, quick pass. Moss off the trick play. Lost for the end zone. Caught for the touchdown. It's the tight end, Gerard Bullock, for the score. There is a flag on the play.
It's in the territory of the
defense number 5 lined up in the neutral zone. The penalties declined. Result of the play is a touchdown.
Kennesaw State. An electrifying start to this ball game. Recovers a fumble on the opening drive. And then to the end zone, Christian Moss, coming off a career-high 6 catches a week ago, throws the first touchdown pass of his career to the tight end, Gerard Bullock Jr.
Bullock Jr. wanted to make sure that was going to count in the NFL. Got both feet down on a fantastic draw by the staff there.
His first touchdown of the season, 3rd of his career for the Tennessee State transfer. Began his career as a student at Dayton. And Britton Williams knocks on the PAT. 7-0 Kennesaw State. In a start, Caleb, like you said, you could not have drawn it any better for the Owls.
You couldn't, Nolan. And the Owls actually, on that first play where Amari Odom scrambled, they ran a double move on the outside, a stutter and go with Christian Moss, looking for him deep to take a shot. Odom made a great decision to tuck that ball and run with it, and then they showed him a little love on letting him throw the double pass.
Running, and the kicker is declined. And that sends us to a timeout. Well, we hope you found your seat, because if not, you missed a lot to start this ball game. Kennesaw State on homecoming, off to dancing early. Amari Odom and the Owls up 7-0. Caleb O'Neill, this is complimentary football. Middle Tennessee coughs up a fumble for the first time this season. The Owls, Johnny on the spot in the opening drive. And then here, trickeration. Odom, all the attention. How about the receiver, Christian Moss? Hey, I can throw it too. And as you said, Gerard Bullock, the tight end. It's good on a Saturday. It's good on a Sunday.
That's exactly right, Nolan. You'll see it again here. You'll see him get that ball on Moss's backfield shoulder, as you mentioned, Nolan, and during the break, making an easy throw for the lefty, putting it high where only his guy can get it in the corner. Spin that ball, young man, and give him 6.
Technically the 3rd kickoff for Britton Williams. This one a touchback once again. So the Blue Raiders go back to work on offense. Just over 90 seconds in the ballgame, already down a touchdown.
And that's how Kennesaw State likes to run their offense. As we've seen, run fast, score quick, but it's not very typical to get the ball on the opponent's 30 and get up that fast without a true possession that didn't come off a turnover. So speaking of momentum, you see it's quickly going to Kennesaw State, but let's see how the Blue Raider offense can respond here and swing back.
3 receivers in the formation. Walkerson in motion. Vadiato, man in his face. He throws in the run. It's caught for a first down. Gamarion Cotter, who returns to Middle Tennessee State for this ball game, snares it down. He's a big part of the offense they haven't been able to use this year. Derek Mason and company excited to get him back on the field in this contest.
And there's always 1 or 2 guys on a defensive or an offensive side of the ball that if you can plug in, it changes the entire dynamic of your play calling, of your confidence from your quarterback and your team on either side of the ball, and he may just be that guy today.
Bodie Reeder, the OC, the Blue Raider staff told us you may see more receivers, less tight ends in this game. The tight end, the starter, Hunter Tipton, listed as questionable in Conference USA's first availability report for each of these teams. Quick pass out to the wide side of the field, and the screen works with a flag down for about 7 yards on the snag from Miles Butler. Stevens with a tackle for KSU, and multiple pieces of laundry here on Wallens Family Field.
Might be a holding call, at least on the flag that's on the 40. Not too sure about the flag that's on the 50.
Holding, offense number 8. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
That's on Amarion Walker, the wide receiver.
And as a receiver, you see here, whenever your cornerback starts to get off of you and you get your head down, you get your hands extended, he let go at the right time. But once you get your head down, you get off balance, and you're not essentially driving the car, is what we would always say. When you're not driving the car and the car's pulling you along, at that point it's almost too late to avoid the call when you start getting drug along.
Yeah, we're not talking about a Tesla and a self-driving car. First and 20 for Vadiato and the Blue Raiders. Back on the ground. And a nice game. They go back to Middlebrook, who had the fumble on the previous drive. Interesting to see how they use Middlebrook again, wanting to get him more carries in this ballgame. Felt like they haven't been able to just turn and hand it off to him much this year.
Right, and you got to build the confidence up in your running back and even in your offensive line that they can do what they've got to do and move the men up front for Middlebrook. And you want Middlebrook to be able to get the ball in a situation like there on first and long, to where the Owls probably have their ears not pinned, they're playing safe, playing deep, and give him some confidence and picking up some chunk yardage to get back to those sticks and build towards picking up a first down.
Jaden Grimes chasing out Vadiato, dishes it on the run, and it's incomplete. It'll be third and long.
And that's a hard throw to make, Nolan. You see here, as he reverses out, he's got pressure screaming down the back of him, and that's a great throw as to why Vadiato has so many career passing yards. But full speed sprint, getting that ball out, slightly low, a little bit off target, and that's a tough throw to make regardless. But you see Vadiato, the veteran, getting out of there, clearing out room, and almost making a good play downfield.
Blue Raiders don't want to give the ball right back. 28% on third downs this season. That's 9th in Conference USA. Vadiato has a pocket. Now he escapes. A lot of room ahead, but he's well short of the first down marker. And it's fourth down for Middle Tennessee.
And the Owls, excuse me. The Raiders are flirting with no man's land here. When you start getting around the 45 on each side of the ball, you're a little bit too far for your kicker or your punter to really boot one down there, or maybe you're a little too close if you're on the other 45, to where you got to be a little more finesse and float one up there. But obviously they're punting it here. But that's such an interesting yard line and such an interesting part of the field where you see some trickeration every now and then, Nolan.
Ashton Logan to punt after Isaac Paul chased out Vadiato. Gabe Binyard, the returner, had a long of 46 a week ago in the win over Arkansas State. Logan, short one here to the far side of the field, takes a Blue Raider tumble inside the 15, continues to turn, surrounded and downed at the 12. 44-yard boot with a bounce. Owls take over possession with a 7-0 lead here at home. 7-0 lead for Kennesaw State in the Conference USA opener. Caleb, last week the quarterback Amari Odom set the KSU record for total offense in the game with 409 yards.
He did, Nolan, and the Owls started fast last week. As you see throughout this entire clip, pushing the ball down the field, quarterback shaking and baking, Chris Berman making some guys miss here and there. And that's exactly what they look to do here on this drive, Nolan. You're up 7-0. You scored off of a turnover. Let's copy and paste that and see what the Owls can do here. And that's exactly what the KSU staff is probably thinking at the moment.
Switches the formation, sends Gabe Binyard in motion, hands it to him on the jet sweep. Gets to the perimeter, hesitates. Binyard continues to scuttle upfield. He reaches across the 20. Anthony Bynum, the defensive end, chases him down.
If he wouldn't have added the shakes there, it might have only been a yard he picked up, but that was a great play there by Gabe Binyard.
Second and short. And Coleman Bennett with a nice hole on the right side, and Bennett continues to be a difficult ball carry to bring to the turf. Abdul Muhammad just held him up there as Bennett backpedals for a first down.
And Coleman Bennett is a running back that we've seen this year, Nolan, who does not like to go down.
No.
He is one of the toughest runners that we've seen on any given Saturday so far this year.
Coaching staff continues to use the word violence when talking about his running ability. 1st and 10 for Odom and the Owls. Quick play fake. Odom able to escape the heat, throws on the run, and what a snag near midfield. Gerard Bullock Jr. has his 2nd catch of the 1st quarter as he pulls it down against the sunlight over John House the 4th.
And Vadiato made that throw on the run earlier. That was challenging, but that throw by Odom was a big-time throw.
Issues a dart, and that's incomplete at the 45.
And to look at the previous play, once you see Odom reverse out here, rolling against your throwing shoulder, so right thrower, rolling left, and to throw that behind the back of the defender without even being able to see your receiver and just trusting your guy to go make the play for you, that's a big-time throw.
2nd year as a starter, started at Wofford last year, but just the way he's playing, it doesn't look like this is his 1st year starting in a new program.
Correct, and he's playing like a veteran. That's a veteran throw that you don't see on very many teams on Saturday.
Odom throwing, has Chase Belcher caught in stride. Belcher alive inside the 5. Touchdown, Kennesaw State. 53 yards. Odom to Belcher. And the early route is on here in the song.
Belcher with the seam route right up the middle with the old catch me if you can as the defender dives for his leg. Fantastic display of balance and athleticism. Give that young man 6.
3rd receiving score of Chase Belcher's career, the former Viking out of Lowndes County in Valdosta, Georgia. Williams converts the PAT, 14-0 Kennesaw State. And the Owls hammer to nail early in the Conference USA opener between these two squads.
If you're Kennesaw State staff right here, you can't ask for more out of your quarterback to begin this game, delivering the mail down the field, in the backfield, and you can't ask for anything better after yards after a catch right there in a 2nd effort.
Amari Odom, a record-setting game in each of the last 2 games. Consider this, Caleb. 2 weeks ago in his first start against Merrimack, set the single-game completion record when he went 12 of 14. Last week, we just touched on it. 409 yards of total offense, a single-game record, 308 passing yards, tied the best ever in KSU history. What's he going to do in this game?
I guess we shall see, Nolan. He's off to a great start, and the hand is hot. So you better strike while the iron's hot and see what you can do if you're the Kennesaw State staff.
Jerry Mack looking calm, cool, and collected on the outside line as Britt Williams is getting a lot of work here in the 1st quarter. Shorter kick here. Juwan Gaston set to return. And he reaches out to the 25. So Middle Tennessee already feeling the heat, down 14-0. Almost 5 minutes or 6 minutes into the ball game here, Caleb. They fumbled, they've had to punt away. This isn't a gotta have it drive, but you feel like you gotta create some sort of momentum here.
You really do, and I would look for the staff to call their game plan. We talked with them this week, lots of NFL high-level FBS football history and coaching trees throughout this Middle Tennessee staff. And these guys know you got to get some momentum, but you've also got to stick to what you know best here whenever you need it.
And Vadiato dancing. And he makes it to the 29-yard line. Jaden Grimes, who pressured Vadiato earlier, chases down the Blue Raiders signal caller. It's 2nd down.
And Nolan, it's also touching back on that last point. It's one of those things, it seems like we've talked about it every broadcast this year, but Nick Saban saying in times where you need a play, you look for your players, not the play, and I look for him to do that here.
Vadiato goes through the air. It's to Cameron Lacey. Lacey picks up the 1st down. Racing out to the right and talking about one of their best players. He's the fastest clocked wide receiver on the team. The coaching staff told us Bodie Reeder, the OC, he deserves the ball more. We got to get the ball in his hands. More reps, screens, whatever we need to do. Lacey needs to touch the pigskin more in this game.
And like I just said, Nolan, get the ball to your players. If he's your fastest guy, find any way you can get the ball to get him, or have a chance to get him the ball in space and let him do what he does like they did last week with all of their receiving corps.
Second first down through the air for Vadiato and the Blue Raiders. Bit of a wobbly snap on the ground. It's Hunt Jr. who's bounced back at the 40-yard line. Barrett Hobson, the linebacker, coming off a career-high 14 tackles against Arkansas State there for KSU.
And he's a man you don't want to be on the other side of a hole trying to run over based on how he's played this season. And back on that wobbly snap, it kind of caused a little bit of a delay there in that run. And it kind of reminded me of old school Antonio Brown, where he would just sit behind the line of scrimmage and then pick a hole and take off. And I feel like that worked out well there on that 4-yard pickup.
Keyword is old school, talking about Antonio Brown there. 2nd and 6. Hunt Jr. cutting up field, and there's a flag down on the tackle.
Yeah, the officials aren't the fondest of when you tackle a man by his face mask, and might be coming here shortly.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 55.
It's on Uganda
15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And a first down for the Blue Raiders, who move it now inside Owl territory for the first time. Here it is again.
And you'll see Waha right here on the middle of your screen. Yep. And you see how it looked like he held on to it for a little while and brought it as he was falling down. And that's where it comes to the 15-yarder whenever it's not an incidental face mask grab, but it's more of a grab and hold situation.
1st and 10 at the 45 for MTSU. Going to cut into this early KSU lead. Play fake. Vadiato on the deep drop. Airs it out. Open man inside the 30-yard line. Najee Cox, their leading receiver, takes it down right near the red zone, on the front door of the red zone at the 20.
And the Raiders running a true cover 4 beater there. You see here the post by number 8. Cox comes across the middle with a dig. The entire back end of the KSU defense took the post, digs wide open, deliver the mail.
And flags are down, procedure penalty upcoming. Cox has been so good, 120 receiving yards.
Number 1, 5-yard penalty.
Over the last 2 games, they go back to their big play target. But just when MTSU has success, Blue Raiders stub their toe here with a false start.
And with the start of this game, Nolan, you've got to avoid those, and so that you can have the ability to create more explosive plays. As you see here, there were 6 plays over 20 yards last week. Whenever you get behind the sticks like that, you either force yourself to have to make one of those explosive plays, or you make it much more difficult to have the chance to with your play calling.
Draw play. Middlebrook on the handoff. Barron Hobson for the tackle. First hit there. Middlebrook gives him a good surge, though. 2nd down.
And Hobson there, it didn't look like he was going to have a good angle on the tackle, but really laid the wood to bring the running back down.
35 stops in this season. That's 4th in the league. He's tied for the 2nd most by KSU defender all time through 4 games this season. Only behind the All-American Bryson Armstrong, whom you played with, Caleb.
Sure enough.
2nd and 13, Garland Binyard on the blitz. Middlebrook goes the other way on the handoff, and Middlebrook navigates his way to about the 16. 5 Hamilton, the nickelback, comes up for the tackle.
In a situation like that as a quarterback, Nolan, you love to see it. Whenever you have a backer blitzing off the opposite side of the call, so you have the backers are already going to shift. The back end of the defense is probably going to have to rotate at some point to counter in case there's a pass play. So on 2nd and long, you see that backer creeping, or you know what they're running. Hey, as long as your guard picks it up, or your center reaches out and just gets an arm on him, quarterback and running back are chomping at the bit to get that play snapped.
Mentioned earlier, MTSU struggled on 3rd downs. Owls defensively 40%. That's 3rd in the league. Middlebrook on the handoff through the teeth of the defense. Parliament of Owls there as Barrett Hobson cleans it up over the top, and it's 4th down.
Nowhere to go there, and as a defensive staff, that right there is what you love to see. The offensive line gets pushed back. The linebackers are at the line of scrimmage, nowhere to go with the football, and even some of the KSU defense there was lobbying for a flag of illegal procedure from that motion that came out from the wide receiver.
Late man on the field here for a 34-yard attempt for the former soccer star Jacob Hathaway, the transfer out of West Virginia Tech, where he started on the pitch. Hit a 50-yarder last week, 2 of 2 against the Thundering Herd. Play clock ticking down. Hathaway off of the upright and doinks it in. Bend it like Hathaway. MTSU on the board here. It's a 14-3 ball game as Mason the Blue Raiders score for the first time. Mason's Blue Raiders are on the board, and for more on a unique part of his program, let's send it down to the field to Lexi Bowden. Lexi.
Yeah, so obviously in the age of NIL, you have a lot of new faces. You want to get everyone on the same page. So the Blue Raiders have implemented a culture meeting every single Monday, and they're actually reading a book right now called Legacy, about one of the most dynamic rugby teams and how they work through adversity. Some really cool stuff going on in their program, guys.
Thank you so much, Lexi. That was so interesting to hear. And at this level, rosters are just filled with newcomers every single week. As MTSU exits out of a unique formation with Balin Woodman, you've got to put in that extra effort to help develop your culture and try to bring all these newcomers together.
And that's what makes the special football teams so special. And really, honestly, any organization, professional organization out there, is whenever you get the opportunity to have everyone bought in to a program, to a dream, to a vision, and everyone can align to that, that's where true success can really flourish and grow.
Tykeem Wallace on the return for Kennesaw State. You see Mason looking on, and he's familiar with the KSU sideline. He's known Jerry Mack, the head coach for the Owls, for a long time. The two really connected with Mike Bloomgren, left Stanford to go to Rice. Jerry Mack then left North Carolina Central after winning 3 Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference titles to be the OC at Rice. And funny enough, when all that came about at Rice, the defensive coordinator, Brian Stewart, was on the previous staff at Rice, and he had to handle the recruiting as the new staff, Bloomgren and Mack, came in.
That's an interesting place to be, Nolan.
Interesting, awkward, not a fun time to be a coach, but that's what happens in this profession. Anthony Bynum with a quick tackle of Alexander Diggs, who scored last week for the Owls.
And now still looking to go fast, Nolan.
7th fastest in the group of 6 level in seconds per play last week. Odom slips out of 1 tackle and fights forward to the 31, brings up 3rd and short after the tackle from the veteran Parker Hughes, 23rd in the country in solo stops this year. As the Blue Raider defense, after a field goal, looks for a quick 3-and-out.
And you like to see the effort there by your QB, tucking the ball, picking up a couple extra yardage with nowhere to go, making a smart decision and pulling it down to run. But you do not like to see him take a hit like that on his throwing shoulder as he goes down.
First 3rd down attempt for the Owls, and Hughes breaks it up, intended for Binyard. So a tackle on 2nd down and a 3rd down breakup for Parker Hughes, one of the team leaders, and the Blue Raiders forced the 3-and-out after the Hathaway field goal.
And Gabe Binyard was open there as Hughes broke it up, but Amari Odom threw that ball off his back foot and wasn't able to get a lot of oomph on that football and have a lot of power behind it and velocity, and it allowed Hughes to step in front and make a great pass breakup.
Hewitt with a rugby-style punt and a long one. Middlebrook takes the fair catch at the 25. So the Blue Raider defense holds serve, and now Vadiato and the offense go back to work here, trailing by 11 on the road in the Conference USA opener.
And you've got to be happy if you're the staff of the MTSU Blue Raiders there with how well your offense moved the ball on that last drive. There was a couple times you got behind the sticks. You had a penalty here, a penalty there. While it only ended in 3 points, points on the board are all you can ask for, especially when a Kennesaw State team comes out so hot, gets a turnover, scores quick, gets the ball back, scores quick again. So I'd like to see what the Blue Raider staff has in their back pocket here on this drive.
That scoring drive, 9 plays, 59 yards. 4 receivers in the formation here. Another low snap. It's Hunt dancing to the left, and Caleb Offord, the cornerback, charges in for the Owls defense. Offord and Jericho Washington have been off to such a great start this year as the 2 starting corners for KSU. Offord entering this ball game. Tied for second in the league with 5 pass breakups in the season. Had a pair last week against Arkansas State.
And Offord was a guy that defensive coordinator Mark Mattioli really praised on how well he comes up and attacks running backs and attacks the ball carrier, and you don't get that a lot at the cornerback position.
Yep. Vadiato, short pass. Caught to the 30-yard line. Miles Butler pulls it down. Garland Binyard, the senior, on the stop. And the Blue Raiders are faced with a 3rd down.
And Nolan, a play like that where you run a hitch, you get the ball out quick to one of your guys to pick up 4 or 5 yards, right? And now it's 3rd and short. That's a setup play, right? You see, hey, they're in this defense, they're doing this. Let's get a little bit of the yardage here so that we can set up our next play, or even build to set up plays later in the game to where you pick up a few yards, but fill out how the Kennesaw State defensive staff is going to call on 2nd and long.
Vadiato 4 of 5 passing today. Pocket hold, slings it down the middle, incomplete. Who did we just talk about? Caleb Offord there for the PBU. Offord, the Alabama State transfer, forces a 4th down.
And dang near perfect defense, maybe just a touch early, but according to the officials, it was right on time. Arm around the back, reaching forward with your near hand to swat the ball as it gets close to the receiver's hands. Dang near textbook.
I talked with the cornerbacks coach, James Williams, whom Offord followed from Alabama State. He said, they've got big physical receivers. We've got to make our presence known early on. Another boot by Logan. Cloudburster here, hangs for a long time. Binyard gets to return it. Looking for another big return in back-to-back weeks, and he's twisted up around the 37-yard line, following the 46-yard punt from Logan. And speaking of those cornerbacks, Washington and Offord, their season numbers so far have been so good for this KSU defense.
They have, and that's all you can ask for about your edge setters on your defense, right? A total of 16 tackles by Washington, 18 by Offord. Pass breakups, add a couple more to the list already to start this game, and multiple tackles for losses. Last week they had, or it might have been the week before, the Owls had a cornerback blitz that made a big tackle on the inch line. And Nolan, what's your take on that?
Well, that was 2 weeks ago. It's Merrimack. They've been so good. And going back to Williams, the first-year cornerbacks coach, NFL vet, played at Texas Southern alongside Michael Strahan. Williams has set a high standard for this room, coming in as the new cornerbacks coach as the officials continue to huddle up here. Seeing if
There's no foul on the play.
No foul on the play. Williams has such a unique story, a former City of Houston Humanitarian Award winner. Started in the nonprofit world before he coached college football, in which he took over 100 teenagers who had no college football offers to Division I offers. So over 100 kids, no offers, working with them, playing Division I football, got into the coaching game after working in corporate America, got to know Jerry Mack, and here he is first year with the Owls. 1st and 10 for this offense following the Logan boot. And back to the ground once more. DeMonte Smith, 4th in the league in TFLs, brings down Coleman Bennett, who's been a tough runner for the Owls at 2nd down.
And to circle back to Williams, Nolan, as a guy who didn't have any Division I offers myself coming out of high school, I had a preferred walk-on, if you count that as an offer Division I, but that was my only one. That is huge in the difference and impacts he made alone himself in those young men's lives and in the world of football.
Bennett on the ground with a burst. Coleman Bennett inside Blue Raider territory. Again, difficult to bring down as Bennett rumbles his way inside the 30.
Add a couple more missed tackles to his resume. You see him here, cut it up the middle. Snake eyes.
Quick pass. Odom wants Binyard in the end zone. Oh, did he bring it in? Gabe Binyard inside the pylon. Touchdown, Kennesaw State. Picture perfect 29 yards to Conference USA's leading wide receiver. And the Owls just like that. Strike, lightning fast. Lead this one 20-3.
Amari Odom dropping the ball in a bucket in the back corner of that end zone. That's a long throw and a precise throw. Dropping that ball in the last 2 to 3 yards in the corner. That's how you draw it up if you're an offensive coordinator, Nolan.
It's the highest graded offensive player for KSU last week. PFF had him just under 75 as Williams puts it right down Busby. He's been their best deep ball receiver. And look at that. Just inside the paint. And you spoke about a dime. Slides home for 7. Meanwhile, Odom's ready for the homecoming dance.
And that's one of the beautiful things in college football is whenever a quarterback delivers a ball so well to a receiver like Gabriel Binyard, who puts a move on the cornerback and is streaking down the sideline, something you love to see on a Saturday in the fall.
Somewhat similar start for Odom and the Owls to last week, Caleb. They went up 21-0 after the first quarter. It's 21-3 here. Arkansas State was able to come back in the second half, had the football late, chance to drive down in time, but they couldn't ignite anything on offense. That's the next step for Kennesaw State. You got out to a quick start here. How do you keep the pedal to the metal?
Yeah, and sustaining your execution is one of the hardest things to do in this sport. Carrying that momentum, drive after drive, offense, defense, playing a whole game. We heard it from both coaching staffs this week. They want to see 4 quarters, 60 minutes of true executed football played.
Another touchback for Britton Williams. So again for Vadiato in the offense. I felt like I said this about midway through the first quarter. Maybe not a gotta-have-it scoring drive, but you got to pick up some momentum because right now you're not holding serve with this KSU offense.
This is a situation where I feel the same way, Nolan. Earlier I said, well, you know, you kind of feel like you need to have some, but this is one where with how hot the Kennesaw State offense is and how explosive their offense has been so far to begin this game, you really need to get some chunk of the momentum back on your side and slow down that Kennesaw steamroll that's going right now.
Nice carry on the ground and a first down for the Blue Raiders. Alexander Ford, last man there for the Owls. E.J. Taylor takes the handoff from Middle Tennessee. And that concludes the first 15 minutes. The Owls leave the perch quickly. Offense flying high, Binyard scoring for the 3rd week in a row. Odom and the Owls up in the Conference USA opener by 18. Start of the second quarter, Kennesaw State not treating this like it's a marathon. They're treating like it's the 100-meter dash. 21-3, Owls over the Blue Raiders in the Conference USA opener. Caleb O'Neal. The defense has done its part, getting the ball to the offense, and the Owls don't take long to find the end zone.
They don't, Nolan. And they're dialing up a little trickeration as well. They're early, 2 feet in for the touchdown on Saturday or Sunday. And Amari Odom is throwing the ball downfield with some elite precision, as you see there. And that's one of many throws that he has been on point with here to start the game.
Vadiato, quick pass, snared by Jones. Jones tiptoes up the left sideline and boogies for a first down for Middle Tennessee.
In plays like that, where you make one of the top tacklers on the KSU defense miss, Barron Hobson there on the sideline, that's how you begin to get some of that momentum back if you're the Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders.
They rule him out of bounds at the 45, so a gain of 7 on the play for Jones. The execution for the Owls bumping up here. Playing an FBS opponent, the group of 6 level in back-to-back weeks for the first time. They're one of 11 teams to play back-to-back power conference foes out of the group of 6 level, losing at Wake Forest and Indiana to start the year. Vadiato, deep drop, dishes it off. It's Taylor with the snag. Parliament of Vows there, led by Donovan Westmoreland, who was commended for the way that he's come up for Kennesaw State in his motor. Led defensive lineman with 6 tackles last week against Arkansas State. And the coaching staff told us he's got 1 speed. That's it, just 1 speed. Can't turn him down.
And as a football guy, us, Nolan, anyone out there watching, as a football guy, you love that. A guy that he gets on the field and he is just sideline to sideline, end zone to end zone, playing with his hair on fire. Love to see a guy like him play and the way he attacks the game.
No timidness for the Griffin, Georgia native who missed last year with a torn ACL suffered in spring ball after transferring from South Carolina. Taylor takes the handoff there, pushes it inside Owl territory to the 46.
And you're starting to see a bit of a drive start to pick up here for the MTSU Blue Raiders. The offensive staff seemed to find a little bit of rhythm and being on schedule, picking up a good chunk on first down consistently, opening up their playbook on 2nd and short. This is what you would love to see if you're an MTSU Blue Raider fan or on the MTSU sideline.
5th play of the drive. Vadiato looking up the middle. He tucks, and Vadiato scrambles for a first down to the 41. That's what you see out of a veteran quarterback. Vadiato, we highlighted the open. Over 8,000 career passing yards. Doesn't see the read, doesn't see what he likes. Quickly up through the middle for positive yardage and a first down.
Just the all-around veteran guy there, Nolan. Like you said, using his brain, using his legs, picking up first downs, keeping that football safe, which I'm sure has been stressed on that Blue Raider sideline since the beginning of the game.
On the screen pass, almost dropped, but it's Butler with the catch. He takes it down to the 38. Bodie Reeder, the OC, told us if you cut him open, he's going to bleed blue and silver. Didn't have the best statistical game last year against Kennesaw State, in which the Blue Raiders won 14-5. Don't worry about looking up the highlights. There's not any in that game, just going to be honest with you. But he woke up at 2 a.m. Derek Mason got a phone call. Vadiato was sick. I mean, they thought there was no way he was going to play. He's in there for treatment, toughs it out. Not a Jordan flu game, but just the toughness, the grittiness. When you're a quarterback, you do that. If you didn't have respect before, you certainly did there.
And you look for your quarterback to be your leader, the guy the team can rally behind and support and believe in. And that is exactly how you do that, Nolan. You're vocal during the week.
Holding. Offense number 56. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
You execute well. You do your job. You hold others accountable. But then when it's all on the line and your team needs you, you battle through it and you go play ball.
That's E.J. Harris on the hold right there. Middlebrook had a nice rush, but Harris, who gets the start today for the Auburn native and Auburn transfer, has his 2nd penalty of the first half.
And that's a situation you see almost every week in college football. You have a guy that stands his defender up on the line of scrimmage. The ball carrier shifts the side of which way he's going to run, and you get an arm all the way across the chest, across the nameplate or the jersey, the team or school nameplate. And when that arm gets extended, they're going to get you every time.
2nd and long, Vadiato checks it down to the tailback, and Middlebrook is tripped up. Garland Binyard, the outside linebacker, chases him down. Speaking of that game last year, there was some highlights for Garland Binyard. In that game, set a career record. 3 sacks in the game, tied the KSU record. Had 4 TFLs, his best, and he's looking to turn it up again on a 3rd and 12 for MTSU.
And the Blue Raiders behind the sticks again, Nolan. They had a good drive working. That holding penalty backs you up, makes it more challenging for your staff and your play calling to be on schedule and to open up the playbook. It limits you here, but they've converted a couple long 3rd downs earlier. Let's see if they go back through the air to the middle of the field.
Gets the snap off, pocket collapsing. Vadiato shovels it ahead to Middlebrook, who's wrapped up at the 40-yard line. Milan Jones, from right down the road at Marietta High School, forces a 4th down in an interesting part of the field.
And again, another veteran play. Climb in the pocket, evade the pressure, know where your release point is or your release receiver is, give him a little forward pitch like you see across college and NFL football these days of just, hey, get it out there and let your guy make a play and extend the play. And again, the Blue Raiders find themselves in no man's land with the area of the field they're in. With it being 4th and long, probably punt here, but this is a situation where sometimes you see a delay of game taken on purpose to give your team a little more room.
Taylor, the running back, sent in motion. Logan over the rush. High and short, and Binyard pulls down. The short punt up 27 yards. KSU up big with the ball. Under 10 to go here in the second. Nicholas Vadiato, the veteran quarterback for Middle Tennessee. We told you about his sick game last year against Kennesaw State. There were no highlights. Well, okay, our production crew looked it up. There were some highlights. Vadiato, extremely sick. Mason got the call at 2 a.m. in the morning, and he battled it out for the Blue Raiders in a home win.
Like I said, Nolan, that's what you can believe in. You can get behind a guy that does that honestly does whatever he can to help his team succeed and ultimately bring out a win as they came out victorious 14-5 against the Kennesaw State Owls. As a quarterback, and like I said earlier, as a football guy, you love to see that, and you love to see the competitiveness in that young man.
KSU with a football back as the Owls give it to Clayton Kopic Jr. out of Mays High School. He's a former Raider, not a Blue Raider, but a Raider. And he takes the opportunity there to touch the football for the first time in his KSU career. Gets 8. Second and short, Alexander Diggs on the left side. Diggs met right near the first down marker. Shakai Woods, the nose tackle for MTSU.
And Diggs almost had a monstrous hole on the left side of his offensive line there that he didn't see it until late, but it would have been gash city if he would have seen it early enough.
Last week, 7 carries for 39 yards for Kennesaw State. Diggs, who was placed on scholarship going into this season, takes the handoff, wins the race to the edge, and Diggs with a big collision at the 29-yard line, loses the football on the Blue Raiders sideline. MTSU pointing in front of its own bench.
As the ball was fumbled and recovered by the defense.
As the Blue Raiders look for a critical turnover.
And that could be a turning point in this game, Nolan. A huge momentum shift, depending on how this replay looks. Diggs got stunned right there by the cornerback, Carlisle. And if they were to even consider looking at this, it would be, is the recovery man, did he come in from out of bounds, and was he the first to touch the ball? That could be a potential issue, but I guess we shall see.
So Middle Tennessee's Shaquille Middlebrook fumbled in the first quarter, and now Kennesaw State's Alexander Diggs, both tailbacks fumbling here. With both teams taking over at the 30-yard line, the plus 30. Can the Blue Raiders score for the first time today, 6 instead of 3?
And oddly enough, Nolan, when Kennesaw State recovered that fumble, it was on that exact 30-yard line. And this one here on the exact 30-yard line. So a potential good omen for the Blue Raider offense here. And I mentioned it earlier as well. This is an opportunity to take a shot at the end zone. You get a big momentum shift, defense on their heels, quick turnaround. You might see one.
On the ground, Middlebrook to the second level. Middlebrook still spinning. Down to the 24. Garland Binyard, the first man there for KSU.
Or on the contrary, you just stick to your bread and butter. Off tackle, zone front, or zone scheme up front, and let your guys do what they do. And Middlebrook trucks it down there, picks up a 6-yard gain, keeps you on schedule, sustains the drive like we talked about earlier.
MTSU wanting to improve in the red zone. They're not quite there yet. 75% of the season. 7 touchdowns, 2 field goals, 9 of 12 in scoring opportunities. Vadiato on the play fake. Black jersey swarming him, and it brings up a 3rd down.
And it looked like Vadiato was looking for Cox. You see him up there at the top of your screen. He ran that dig route across the middle. KSU went one high safety, which you run one of those middle dig routes. The safety comes down and covers it. The corner's all over it. Nowhere to go with the ball. Again, Vadiato, veteran move, tuck the ball, get what you can get, and don't pitch a fit.
Blue Raiders in the first half, 0 of 4 on third downs. Out of the Wildcat, Middlebrook. Nice move. Middlebrook's tripped up at the 16-yard line. He has the first down in the first third down conversion. Isaac Paul, the safety, wrapping him up as the Blue Raiders move the chains.
Nice motion there as you put Vadiato on the snap, looking like it's going to be a reverse. He did a good job of drawing some attention, raising his hands, causing the KSU defense to sit on their heels a little bit and not over pursue. Pick up a first down, convert your first third down of the day in the red zone. I like that call.
Hunter Tipton, the tight end, listed as questionable today, set in motion. From inside the red zone, Vadiato slings it to the far side. A nice scoop up from Cox. Second down.
Yeah, that's a long throw, Nolan. That takes a lot of trust from an offensive staff to call that from your quarterback and your receiver to come back to the ball, not allow to cut down on that air time of the ball. And also there, smart move by Vadiato. The Owls brought a corner blitz from the near side of the field. If he would have hung on to that ball for just a half a second too long, that's where disaster can happen.
MTSU has milked the clock here in the first half, but only 3 points to show of it. KSU with its trademark quick strike offense. 2nd and 7 from the left hash. Middlebrook on the handoff. Dashes to the 10-yard line. Third down of coming again.
The Raiders up against the same battle. The red zone, third down conversions. You just picked up your first. We'll see if they can carry their momentum of third down conversion on this drive into this play here. But it seems like situations like this and plays like this where there's a lot on it, you always seem to have a route or something called that's a little bit different that potentially could be a touchdown ball. Especially if you're in an empty formation like this right here, you never know what they might have drawn up.
Middlebrook in motion. Vadiato calls his own number, and he's stuffed to the 10-yard line. Marcus Patterson and Garland Binyard with a key third down stop for the Owls defense.
Went with the G scheme there. Instead of pulling the guard, you pull the tight end that was in the sniffer position. One man can't block two defenders and nowhere to go for Vadiato.
That's not good math. Patterson celebrating. The Blue Raiders are going forward on fourth down. Down 21-3 in the Conference USA opener.
And I typically am on the side of the fence of take the points if you can get them, but the Raiders rolling the dice.
Running the option. Pitch to Middlebrook with a good block. Middlebrook scoots forward. Touchdown, MTSU. The Blue Raiders are now 3 of 9 on fourth downs this year. They needed to score following the fumble recovery. And old school KSU running the option. Middlebrook. Look at those blocks, Caleb.
If you're going to run the option, you're going to pitch the ball. Look at the block by Cox right there on the corner. The block's peeling back to pick off any defensive pursuit. You can't get it on third down, Nolan. Guess what? You got an extra. Go for it on fourth.
Hathaway on for the PAT. No problem there. Blue Raiders capitalize on the Diggs fumble and cut the deficit to 21-10. What a scene to take in college football here in Kennesaw, Georgia. Wallens Family Field at Fifth Third Stadium. And the Blue Raiders liking the vibes a little bit more than they did a few minutes ago. They take advantage of an Alexander Diggs fumble. Carlisle caused it, and then go right down the field 30 yards and score on a fourth down, Caleb.
Didn't. Middlebrook took that pitch and did a little tight roping down the sideline to get his team in the end zone. And we talked about it every week, Nolan. It seems the game of football is all about momentum. The Blue Raiders seem to be reeling a little bit more of that momentum in as the Owls started hot.
just like last week, Kennesaw State, its biggest enemy offensively. The Owls did not punt in the first half, and they haven't so far here as that one lands in the end zone for a touchback. 4:17 until halftime. Owls the football following this.
I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell. I've done the research. Honest plumbing service begins with Superior Plumbing.
Come on in.
For emergency repairs, upgrades, and ongoing maintenance, Superior Plumbing delivers reliable service at a fair price.
When you're in a panic and you need to call somebody, we call it Superior Plumbing. Great, thank you. That's a relief.
Plus, it's all backed by my Make It Right guarantee.
As student athletes, we push ourselves to be our best.
On and off the field.
When the game is on the line, mental health matters.
It's okay not to be okay.
Of the 500,000 student athletes in the NCAA,
nearly 20% say they are suffering from depression or anxiety.
It is time to break the stigma.
Strong minds lead to strong performances.
Let's support each other and talk about mental health.
Together, there are no limits on us.
A fifth third better means we give 166.7%.
Who's a good boy, Parson?
I am good boy.
That's right. And why?
Because I bank a fifth third better.
Wait, what?
5/3 equals 166.7%, so they put 166.7% into everything they do.
Okay, what is happening?
I'll tell you what's happening. Free checking, no hidden fees, and identity theft protection. Now, let's get rid of Cat, please.
What?
This is banking a fifth third better.
At Georgia Natural Gas, we know there's strength in numbers, like 500 million. Through Greener Life, we've removed 500 million pounds of carbon from the atmosphere in only 5 years. To celebrate, we're making Greener Life even greener. G&G is committed to certified low-emissions gas. Now all Greener Life customers get the benefit of reducing their carbon footprint at home and where the gas is produced. There's never been a better time to join Greener Life.
Hosting the Blue Raiders. MTSU just scored their first touchdown of this game. And just talking about the Blue Raiders offense, quarterback Nick Vadietto hit 7 different receivers in their last game against Marshall. And tonight, 8 different guys have a touch on the ball on offense. Coach Derek Mason said they have a lot of repertoire this summer. Obviously, football is a very physical game, but there's also a part that's like choreography, like dance. You have to get on the same page and the right steps and the right timing. He mentioned the receivers are all on the same page with Nick. They have that rhythm down, so he's not afraid to throw to anyone, guys.
Thank you so much, Lexi. Doesn't look like he's much of a dancer, though.
No, he seems a bit more reserved here on the sideline over there, as he seems to try to rally the Blue Raiders to fight up this 10-21 battle mountain. But either way, he can choreograph pretty well with his receivers.
Counterplay to Gabe Binyard, a former running back, slips a tackle at the 25, and Binyard's ushered out of bounds across the 30.
And that orbit motion there, where you run past the quarterback, circle around, and come back, seems to be a challenge for defenses across the game of football, because you don't know if you're going to pass him off, if you're going to stay in man coverage, or what you're going to do, and the Owls using it to their advantage there.
Almost like in basketball, you get those screens. Who picks him up? Nice effort there. Chase Belcher, who scored through the air earlier, his first touchdown of his KSU career, squeezes for a first down.
And Belcher almost squeezed out of that pile there and slipped out the backside of that defense with no one to slow him down, but Blue Raider defense got a hold of him, and after catching that touchdown pass earlier, I'm sure he's itching to get back in the end zone.
Started his career at Northern Arizona, transferred to West Georgia, and then came over with KSU wide receivers coach David Whitlow from West Georgia. Odom finds his man at the 50-yard line. A first down for Kennesaw State. Lyndon Rivar, his first catch of the evening. Parker Hughes there for the tackle.
And that's a good adjustment to that throw for Amari Odom. You're sprinting out. You have your flats receiver did a return motion. You got to get the ball out quick. Find your open man and get it out. Flip your hips and your shoulders.
Odom Odom airs it out down the right sideline. Flag is down with the incompletion. Rivard, the intended target. Carlisle in coverage.
Seems like a pretty cut and dry there call, or pretty cut and dry call there, Nolan. Hands all over the receiver, maybe illegal touching.
Pass interference. Defense number 15. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
See a lot of jersey tugging, and there may have been a little bit of contact there before we even they got that back into the frame of the camera, but threw that flag early, so there must have been a lot of contact early.
I agree. Based on that vantage point, didn't look like pass interference, but probably happened just before. Odom, quarterback run. A pair of Blue Raiders bring him down for just a half-yard gain on first down.
Owls want to go fast.
Empty set on second down. Odom, pass to Binyard. Looking for another receiver pass. Man's not open, and Binyard's hit hard out of bounds. Parker Hughes.
Binyard was looking
magnet for the Blue Raiders.
Binyard was looking downfield for Lyndon Rivard, number 11, coming across from your right side there. Nowhere to go with the football. Again, another veteran move by a veteran player. Tuck the ball, get what you can get, and don't try to force it.
Brian Stewart, longtime coach in the NFL, says you're not going to fool me twice on those receiver passes. Christian Moss found Gerard Bullock Jr. the tight end for the first score of the day for the Owls.
And there, Nolan, that's perfect. You could hear the Blue Raider sideline screaming, double pass, as soon as they snapped that ball and threw it to Gabe Binyard.
We've reached the 2-minute timeout. Jerry Mack in his first Conference USA game has a 21-10 lead. Owls looking to add to it here late in the second. Gabe Binyard on the beneficiary side of Amari Odom's distribution last week to 8 different receivers, tying the Kennesaw State single-game record with 308 passing yards in a 7-point win over Arkansas State. Here this evening, Caleb, it's been a quick strike offense, only 4 different receivers, and it's not for Odom not finding the right guy. It's just been, this offense has been humming along. 230 total yards. They've had short fields. They've been efficient so far, but they have a key third down here.
They do, Nolan, and if you look at the long of each of those throws, 19 yards, 53 yards, 29 yards, it's been shots down the field that have really connected well for the Owls.
Hands it off. Coleman Bennett is stuffed at the 29-yard line. Zayon Simpson-Smith didn't play last year, redshirted, off to a good start this year for the Nashville native, and it's fourth down.
That's their first, 32nd.
That was a big-time play coming from the backside of that defense to pursue the ball carrier and make a big tackle on Bennett there to force the fourth down. Late in the second quarter, Owls are trying to get another touchdown on the board. Raiders are trying to, at the very least, hold them to a field goal. Great play there by an outstanding effort.
Derek Mason, second-year head coach at Middle Tennessee. Eyeing for the far sideline. Meanwhile, Jerry Mack, his first year leading the Owls. With a 4th and 4, what's the call here? And the field goal unit trots on. You see Mason intently into it on the knee on the far side of the field. Britton Williams on here. 47-yarder. His career long is 49, season long is 44, 2 weeks ago against Merrimack. 2 of 3 on the season. Out of the hold of Joshua Hewitt, the punter, Williams' kick is no good. And Middle Tennessee, with 2 timeouts, takes possession, down by 11 with 1:48 remaining.
And Middle Tennessee went for the all-out block there. If you notice, there were 10 men on the line of scrimmage, and I believe Williams may have seen that. And you see a little bit of a tough situation there for Hewitt to get that ball up completely upright and held well for Williams. Things like that, tough to overcome when you get a snap and the ball gets kind of in on your body and you got to get it out and get the laces spun quickly. tough spot to be in.
They say football is a game of inches. When it comes to PATs and field goals, that can be a game of centimeters.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And especially when you get those laces, they get sideways and the ball gets crooked, you never know.
Incomplete. Marion Walker could not hang on to the pass from Vadiato, second down.
And the Raiders have only thrown a few, or really a couple, of those quick screens like that. And Vadiato is a machine at getting that ball on the upfield shoulder. Obviously, that one didn't get brought in there, but getting the ball on the receiver's upfield shoulder to allow them to not break stride, to where if that ball were to have been caught, it would have been just right in stride and act like you were handed the ball almost. Vadiato, kudos on his accuracy so far.
Second down. Pumps in the flats, dishes down the middle, incomplete to Tipton, who absorbed a hard hit from the KSU linebacker Taiwan Christopher. And what could have started as a drive starter there for the quick pass as Tipton is down, now turns into a third down. Tipton struggling, who is questionable on the availability report going into this contest.
Yeah, a hit like that on a guy that came into the game questionable like Tipton, regardless of how your body is feeling or your health beforehand, a hit like that will make you questionable for the remainder of the game at any point in the game. He took a lick there, and hopefully he's okay.
That's Taiwan Christopher, the redshirt freshman out of Thomas County Central.
You see Christopher coming up and really just lays the boom on him on that right shoulder, and we don't know the extent of why he was questionable, but that's a large body man connecting with a large body man. There's a lot of Newton's laws going on right there, and you feel for him as he's being tended to.
Hunter Tipton, the transfer from Louisiana Tech, senior out of Timpson High School in Texas. Down in the field for Middle Tennessee. Conference USA opener, Middle Tennessee and Kennesaw State. Al's got out to a quick start here. 21-3 lead. Second quarter, it's been all Blue Raiders, outscoring KSU 7-0. But all that pales in comparison here to the status of Hunter Tipton, the tight end for Middle Tennessee, down on the play. Moment of prayer on the Blue Raiders sideline. And we will step aside from Wallens Family Field at Fifth Third Stadium with Tipton down for the Blue Raiders. Minute 42 until halftime from Kennesaw. Hunter Tipton, the injured Blue Raider, able to stand up on his own after this. First, he's sitting. You're so thankful to see this for the senior out of Texas, to being helped from the training staff. Eventually, the stretcher ran off, and Tipton walked off under his own power. So great to see from Tipton. It's third down. Middlebrook breaks a tackle, and Middlebrook has a first down. How about that recharge from Middle Tennessee? First and 10 here for the Blue Raiders. You see Tipton being looked at and evaluated on the Blue Raiders sideline.
And hopefully, as we saw, he walked off on his own. The stretcher, just a precaution. He didn't need to use it, and the Raider offense was charged up, Nolan.
Quick pass, that one's caught by Miles Butler, and Butler finally taken down to the 39-yard line by Hamilton. Still 2 timeouts remaining for Middle Tennessee, who's held KSU scoreless here in the second and trying to make it a 1-score ball game going into intermission. Vadiato pump fakes, and Vadiato's taken down by Westmoreland. Donovan Westmoreland has his 2nd sack of the season. And a timeout.
That's their second, 30 seconds.
And when you go 2-minute drill here, Nolan, a sack is one thing you can't have. Now, fortunately, Middle Tennessee had 2 timeouts
Please
there, so
the game
works out well for them.
110.
But a sack is something you can't have. You want to attack the sidelines, and if you can't attack the sidelines, you want to pick up a first down, get the clock stopped as the chains move, get up on the ball quick, allow for the play call, so you waste minimal time. But a situation like that, and Vadiato knows it. As soon as he felt that hand on him, I'm sure there was a million thoughts going through his head, like, man, you got to be kidding me. But 1:10 left. You're on the opponent's, 41-yard line. You can't take a sack, and especially now, as you're behind the sticks, you're out of field goal range, you cannot take another sack. In a situation like that, he's got to get rid of the ball, find somebody's feet to throw it at, or just throw it out of bounds if you're outside the box and have a receiver in the near area.
A great night for college football. Let's see if this first half gives us a great ending. Vadiato, pocket holds, looking for the home run ball down the right sideline. It's caught inside the 10. Najee Cox goes over the cornerback, 1st and goal for Middle Tennessee.
Looking for a player when you need a play. Nolan, nothing but a straight vert on the outside by your go-to guy, Najee Cox. We talked about Amari Odom dropping a ball in a bucket earlier. You got Nick Vadiato dropping one in an even smaller bucket right there on the sideline.
Cox, 35 yards, leads the team over 13 yards per catch. A little under that tonight, but a huge play. 1st and goal for the Blue Raiders, trying to make it a 1-score ball game, shifting the formation. Play clock dwindling down. Gets the snap off. Middlebrook on the handoff, maintains his balance and leans into Binyard. 2nd and goal from the 2.
And another thing I really loved about that deep ball right there to Cox was his focus and on twisting his body, getting both hands back on the football and looking it all the way in. That was a ball caught in traffic. Potentially could have had a PI call there. Maybe not, obviously not. But throwing the ball up to your go-to guy in a situation where you need it, that's when big-time players make big-time plays.
2nd down, Middlebrook looking for a 2nd touchdown, and he trips up in the backfield. The KSU defensive front clogged the middle. 3rd and goal.
And you saw him get tripped up there. Big 97, Adam Watkins, turns number 73 of the offense, Marcus Miller, and causes their feet to get tangled up. And I'll tell you what, Adam Watkins at 6 foot, 303 pounds. That's a large man that's hard to move and got a lot of power.
2nd year for Watkins, playing above 300 pounds. The former high school national champion in track and fields. He just feels like I can carry 300 a lot better.
Power to him, Nolan, because that is a powerful man. And I've seen him on the field. I've seen him as he's walking into the stadium before games. You don't see very many 300-pounders in life, but he is a stout fella. And he showed it right there.
Crowd on its feet. 3rd and goal for the Blue Raiders. Middlebrook sent in motion. Low snap to Vadiato. Vadiato hitting the backfield, throws, and it's picked off at the 1-yard line. 5 Hamilton has his 2nd career interception. And a momentous play for the Owls defense in front of its own end zone.
And really the first non-veteran stressed, got to make a play, got to make it happen. We've seen from Badiato tonight. He got hands on. He was worried about taking a sack again, as we just talked about. Went to try to force it to his guy, Miles Butler. Threw it into triple coverage in the nickel. 5 Hamilton slips right underneath, picks that ball off. With the momentum the Owls had, the momentum the Blue Raiders were gaining there. Nolan knocking on the door, not converting. That's huge for the Kennesaw State morale going into the half.
Hamilton celebrates his first interception since October 28th, 2023 against the Lincoln Oaklanders. See Jordan Jackson lined up with his back heel in his own end zone. Got to be careful here if you're KSU.
Can't take a knee and run the clock out here.
Owls had their first safety ever in program history at MTSU last year, and there's a broken tackle. Coleman Bennett is wrapped up at the 6. Nice play out in the perimeter by Diare McDonald, and that will send us into halftime. Mark Mattioli, the defensive coordinator, taking on Derek Mason. Those two have so much history together at Stanford and Vandy, and Mattioli gets the big play from 5 Hamilton in his defense to cap off the first half. And Kennesaw State, on a homecoming Saturday night, leads 21-10 at the break. Lexi Bowden is waiting down in the field for the Owls head coach Jerry Mack to get his thoughts before we head into halftime as the Owls trot their way to the locker room. KSU winners of 2 in a row. Looking to move above 500 for the first time in FBS history. We'll get 30 minutes here before the conclusion of this one to see what the next moment in program history is. Bowden is on the field, waiting for the Owls head coach, Jerry Mack. And we'll send it down to Lexi Bowden.
Hey guys, I'm with Coach Mack right now. Huge interception by 5 Hamilton right before half. What are you liking from your defense in this game?
I like the way I continue to see these guys grow. Last week in that second quarter, they gave up a touchdown right before the half. You saw what happened today. We created a turnover. That's what good football teams do. They learn how to win.
What's going to be your message in the locker room to your guys to finish out this game with a win?
We got to continue to play hard and not shoot ourselves in the foot. We're hitting those guys. We're doing a heck of a job being physical, but now it's time to protect the football and do what we're supposed to do.
Thanks so much, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lexi. His legal name is 5 Hamilton, and he takes 6 on the board for the Blue Raiders. 21-10, Owls in the lead in the Conference USA opener. Halftime of the Conference USA opener for Kennesaw State and Middle Tennessee. Owls up by 11 as we get set to start the second half. Nolan Alexander with Caleb O'Neill. And Caleb, we saw a hot start for Kennesaw State, but the Blue Raiders came back in the second quarter.
Correct, and the Owls started out hot, pushing the ball down the field, had a lot of momentum early, and then the Raiders, you know, they kind of turned it on, got their wheels rolling, and then had that big stop right there before the half with the interception from 5 Hamilton.
Fireworks early for Kennesaw State on a homecoming Saturday. Looking at what the Owls did, Mitch Militello, the OC, pulling out a bag of tricks. Christian Moss finds Gerard Bullock for the touchdown. And then, big play, Chase Belcher, his first score of the season just like Bullock. Owls quickly on top, 14-0. Deja vu from a week ago. Oh yeah, Gabe Binyard, leading receiver in the league, slides in. 21 points for KSU in the first quarter, but as you said, here come the Blue Raiders.
A boomstick of a hit on the sideline on Alexander Diggs forces the ball out, and a little trickeration, a little bit of mixing it up with the option. Tightrope down the sideline, and then trust in your guy Cox there on the sidelines. 2 hands on the ball, bring it down. The Raiders gaining that momentum back, building a little bit until this right here, Nolan.
5 Hamilton comes up with his second career pick right before the half on a goal-to-go situation. As we prepare to start the second half, a look at the statistical breakdown between these two teams, each featuring a balanced offense, but the Owls with a quick strike offense so far for their 21 points.
It's a tale of the big play so far. We'll see how it turns out here as we begin the second half.
So Kennesaw State deferred to begin this ball game will receive here with this 11-point lead and that 5 Hamilton interception just before the break. Taking points off the board for the Blue Raiders. Nolan Alexander, Caleb O'Neill, Lexi Bowden with you here from Wallens Family Field at Fifth Third Stadium. As this kick sails for a touchback, and let's visit with Lexi Bowden. Lexi.
Yeah, so I talked to Coach Derek Mason just at halftime, and he said when you give up 21 points in the first quarter, you're probably not going to win the game. He said he does feel like things have slowed down for them offensively. They're starting to get in a bit of a rhythm, so he just needs to see his team put the ball in the end zone and execute. Also, an update on tight end Hunter Tipton. He had a little bit of numbness in his shoulder after that big hit in the second quarter, but he is back and playing.
That's good to hear. Thank you so much for that update, Lexi.
Glad to hear that about Tipton. Sounds to me, Nolan, like a good old-fashioned stinger, which is no fun and very scary whenever it happens and you're not prepared.
Bennett catches the screen pass, slips right past a defender, and works his way up the left sideline.
I don't know what they spray Coleman Bennett's jersey with on Friday nights or maybe Saturday mornings, but it's got to be Pam or something. I don't know. Soak him in oil.
A senior out of Fort Lauderdale, son of an NFL veteran, Donnell Jr., played fullback in the league, Kansas City, Washington. Bennett on the ground with a hole. Coleman Bennett juking his way for a first down to the midfield logo. Another explosive play on the ground for Coleman Bennett.
And great blocking up front, sealing off the backside and the front side. Bennett cutting back. Defenders chasing him downfield. Can't beat it.
Odom stepping forward in the pocket. Lofts it for Gabe Binyard behind the defense, and Binyard can't find the football.
Yeah, Binyard lost it in the lights there. He looked over this shoulder, looked over that shoulder, was trying to get himself on SportsCenter top 10 on some circus catch, but that's a hard ball. Once you lose that ball and you don't know which shoulder it's on, and you'll see it here, he flips his shoulders, flips back again. That's just a challenging ball to catch after you lose it. I would doubt he lost it in the lights, but just here at nighttime, sometimes that ball gets up high and you can't locate it, and then all of a sudden it starts to panic mode.
And a rare miss for Odom entering this ball game on passes over 20 yards. 5 for 7 in the season, 180 yards and a touchdown. Tykeem Wallace on the sweep. Wallace coughs up the football, and he hops back on it. Almost another fumble for the KSU offense.
Yeah, and Hughes, did he punch it out? He did. That's phenomenal hand placement. While he was getting blocked, he couldn't make the tackle, but stick his hand in there and knock the football out, give your boys a chance to pick it up or fall on it. All you can ask for from a man who had getting blocked and had an offensive guy all up in his grill.
Second forced fumble for Hughes in his career. Third down. Clayton Kopic has his second opportunity with the pigskin. Had a rush earlier, that one a catch. Ricky Smith, the safety, leading the charge for the Blue Raiders, and it's fourth down at midfield.
Nowhere to go there for Kopic, and we'll see the punt unit come out. But again, Nolan, we're in no man's land, right around the 50. And I don't know why it just seems to be sticking out so evidently today. But again, this is a situation where you might see something interesting happen. Probably not, but statistically speaking, this is where magic happens.
Low snap to Hewitt. He does punt, end over end. Middlebrook brings it down to the 15. Joshua Hewitt, 3 inside the 20 last week. 35-yard boot there, and Nicholas Vadiato and the Blue Raider offense take over here. 237 yards in the opening half. 132 through the air, 105 on the ground. 2 turnovers. We showed you the 5 Hamilton interception right before halftime. A Middlebrook fumble as well, but those 2 veterans look locked in here for the second half.
And if you're the 2 vets or anyone on the MTSU sideline, you can't be happier about the way the second half has begun. You force a punt, get the ball back, give up no points, no significant large plays. A perfect opportunity to take back the momentum.
And there is Hunter Tipton in motion, so good to see Tipton, who was injured in the second quarter, back in the field at tight end number 82. Middlebrook takes the handoff, and he's swallowed up in the backfield. Barron Hobson, the leader of the defense, comes up for a stuffing of just a 1-yard gain, and the lineman down for the Blue Raiders.
Got nowhere to go. Again, you got Hobson and Benyard just wreaking havoc at the line of scrimmage. They both read it, filled the hole, and nowhere to go.
Joseph Habanowski, the transfer from Ohio, down on the play. And we'll step aside from Kennesaw. Blue Raiders with the ball to start their second half. Caleb O'Neill, our analyst, is a former walk-on. He wants to highlight a walk-on every week. Caleb, who are you looking at here?
We're looking at the tight end, number 42, Evan Potiker, who's a four-sport high school athlete. Last season had 40 snaps and his career-high snaps at UTEP in the UTEP game. In August, he was awarded a scholarship of this year, and the coaching staff from Middle Tennessee said he's a guy that you would want your daughter to grow up and meet one day whenever she is looking to date somebody. And that's exactly the type of people that you'd love to see get their opportunity, seize it, and earn an opportunity like him.
And as a girl dad myself, much like the OC Bodie Reader who made that comment, a former walk-on himself, there's not a better compliment. Not a better compliment to give someone pass interference there after the catch from Walker. This will come back for the Blue Raiders. But Potiker, they called him the heartbeat of this offense for MTSU. At his first career start a week ago. But a tough look here for the Blue Raiders with an offensive pass interference.
Yeah, it looked like Miles Butler just started pushing before the ball got released, and especially with the ball getting caught past the line of scrimmage, they're usually going to call that every time, especially with the new emphasis on pick rules and different things, and they're still discussing it over there, so I don't know what they're discussing, the officials are, but either way, Potiker is a guy, Nolan, that you love to see have an opportunity and seize it, and I know I mentioned it again, but I want to circle back on that because it's near and dear to my heart, but it's also near and dear to this team and the Middle Tennessee State offense.
After discussion, there is no foul for offensive pass interference. The ball was touched prior to the block.
Well, there you go.
So no offensive pass interference. Rodney Burnett with a clarification. So they pull away the flag after the discussion. So politicking working here at Wallens Family Field at Fifth Third Stadium. And the spot of the football right now where they have it is right at the first down marker.
Yeah, it looks like they've got the ball spot beyond there they go.
There we go. It's a first down. They had the down marker right at the yard to gain. So a 1st and 10 for Middle Tennessee. Butler in motion. Fake to Middlebrook. Vadiato finds the tight end, Tipton. Hunter Tipton tries the hurdle, doesn't work there, but he gains a 1st down for the Blue Raiders.
And you saw Caleb Offord there point at him at the end. That's a dangerous play by the big man Tipton, getting up in the air, almost getting upended, but Offord said no, sir. And Offord took the biggest lick on that one. And you might see it here. Offord pointed his finger at him and said, ooh, you almost got me there.
Just a yard short, 2nd and 1 for Middle Tennessee. Handoff, Middlebrook finds the crease. Out to the 42 with a tackle from Hamilton and a 1st and 10.
And you see Middlebrook with that jump cut there as he tried to bounce it outside, then cut it back inside his right tackle. And that's what separates some of the great running backs and some of the good running backs is those little cuts like that. And you saw it back in the day with like 2008 Alabama with Mark Ingram and all those guys back then. The jump cut really sort of blew up then. And Middlebrook executed it perfectly there to pick up that 1st down.
199 yards after contact in the season for Middlebrook. Finds a way to keep it going. 1st and 10, Middle Tennessee. It's first possession of the second half. Middlebrook on the perimeter. There he goes, cutting up field. And Middlebrook with a good gain on 1st down, 2nd and short.
It looked like
we got flags, Caleb.
Yep, might have been on Mateo Guevara, 55, the left guard.
Offense number 55. 10-yard penalty, remains 1st down.
You called it for the Peach State native out of Cherokee Bluff High School in Flowery Branch.
You see him right there on Adam Watkins. Adam Watkins waving his hands, and I don't know how extensive, how it looked on the other end with the hand across the chest, but we talked about it earlier, Nolan. You get a hand on a back plate and a hand on a chest plate, and someone's trying to pull away from you and you're not driving the car, pushing him, controlling him, they're going to get you. And don't discount Watkins. He did a good job of drawing attention to himself there.
1st and 20 following the penalty. Vadiato sets his feet, fires to an open man across the 40-yard line. Yak yards for the Blue Raiders, and a transfer out of Fresno City College, Najee Cox.
Who other than your guy you need? When you need it, you go to him. 1st and 20, you're behind the sticks. You got to get something to get back in a second and manageable. Send your man Najee Cox on a curl route, dump the ball to him, and let him make a little bit of yard after the catch.
1st in the league, 4th in the nation. Or 10th in the nation, pardon me. There's 4 touchdown catches on the season. 2nd and 6. Vadiato barking out signals to his O-line. Play clock under 5. They get the snap off. A nice gain on the handoff to the right side for the Blue Raiders, giving it to Ricky Hunt Jr., the Tulsa transfer.
Move the chains. It's the name of the game right now. With not taking too many shots down the field here early in the second half, just marching down the field, eat up some of that clock as they did in the first half, and keep being smart with the football.
Walker now walks up to the line, over Tipton. Play action for Vadiato. With some time, being chased now by Waha, who ushers him out of bounds near the line of scrimmage.
Really nowhere to go there. Kudos to the back half of that Kennesaw State secondary. Vadiato was searching downfield, looking high and low, and couldn't find anything. Had Najee Cox covered on the backside of the defense, and Waha just turned on the jets and chased him out. Something the Owls have been good at this year, back-end defense.
Yep. Led by Offord and Washington, the cornerbacks. Another play action for Vadiato. He throws against pressure, a bit behind the receiver, incomplete to A.J. Jones. He's been so good at play action this year, only 16% of his dropbacks this season, but he's completing 60% of his passes. And his longest yards per attempt, almost 10, but that time off target to Jones.
And a great route there by Jones, finding grass within the zone of Kennesaw State's defense, and Vadiato just couldn't get the ball out in front of him, or that would have been a big gain there.
3rd down's a struggle for both the Blue Raiders and the Owls. 3rd and long for Middle Tennessee. Play clock at 5. With the snap, twisting rush, Vadiato against the heat is low to Jones.
Vadiato with pressure all in his face right there, and just couldn't get the ball up enough for Jones to hang on to it. And just straight under Jones's hands, you know, didn't even touch his hands. And that's a tough catch to make regardless. With that much heat on the ball and coming out of your break, bending down and getting low, hard pass to hang on to.
Logan's punt out of the back of the end zone. Owls hold serve defensively, regain possession, lead this one 21-10 in the 3rd. 3rd quarter action for Kennesaw State. It's a family affair. For the brothers Garland and Gabriel Benyard, the twins out of Ocilla, Georgia, and former Irwin County Indians. You see them on the left, Garland on the left, Gabe on the right, and here they are now as seniors for Kennesaw State. They've been mainstays with the Owls through the transition from the FCS to the FBS. There's Garland, 172 career tackles, tops in the team, second on the squad with 6 tonight. And there's Gabe Binyard, a touchdown to his name, and now has gone over 3,000 all-purpose yards in his career, the third player in KSU history to do so. Both Binyards coming in. Package deal in recruiting. Garland has actually recruited a little more heavily from schools than Gabe Binyard, but Mama said they're coming together, and they will go down in the record books for Kennesaw State. 1st and 10 for Odom and the Owls. Find some room to the outside. Odom has a first down. Odom almost lost the football transitioning there.
Ball gets slick when you start changing hands and get sweaty arms on that thing. But what I really liked right there was Lyndon Rivard blocking, number 11 out there. Put in the work, no block, no rock. Taking care of his QB. Love that.
1st and 10 for KSU. Belcher on the handoff. Well, Caleb, you played with both Gabriel and Garland Binyard on Kennesaw State's 2021 Big South Championship team. What do you remember of the two?
My favorite memory of Gabe Binyard, I walked off on the sideline one time after we had just scored a touchdown, and I said, I got a feeling Gabe's going to return this kick for a touchdown. He did, and then I left my helmet on the sideline.
Odom to pass, right at the sticks. And who are we talking about? Gabe Binyard. Continue your story.
There he is. And anyways, he returned a kick for a touchdown. I actually called it, which was really neat. But then I left my helmet and didn't make it out on time for PAT. Not good. And Garland was just a tackle machine from the time he joined the team. So, in short, Gabe, you do not want to give him the ball in space because he will break anybody down. Garland, you don't want to meet him in space because he's going to bring you down. And it's a, like you said, a family affair and two guys you don't want to cross and line up against.
That punt return against Davidson in the FCS playoff stands as the only punt return for a touchdown in Kennesaw State's history. That one went for 63 yards. And asking Jerry Mack about the brothers Binyard, he's ever coached twins before. Really enjoyed it. Said, I have before, actually running backs coach Aston Walker at Rice. But he joked, he said, do they even hang out? I always see him hanging out with different teammates. Do they even talk to each other? Said that jokingly. Of course they do. But they don't stick to their own. Friends with plenty on the team. But right now, a 3rd and 10 for KSU. Looking to get something going. The Owls still haven't scored since erupting for 21 points in the first quarter.
Yeah, and it seemed like there was a little bit of confusion there on the RPO. Odom there acted like he was tucking the ball, got the defender to commit, went to pitch the ball out there. It's a tough look, and it's a tough read as a wide receiver there, or really a tight end. But either way, see if they can't maybe come up with something here on 3rd and long.
3rd down for Odom. Has a pocket, starting to break down as he runs to the left. Odom tucks, and he's out of bounds short of the marker, shoved out of bounds, pushed into his own sideline from Aiden Butts, a handful of former Stevens County Indians out of Toccoa, Georgia. And it's 4th down near midfield for the Owls as Jerry Mack brings on the punting team.
And if you're on the MTSU sideline here, I would only assume you've got to have some confidence here, especially after your defense has pitched a shutout here so far in the 3rd quarter, kind of thwarted the Owls' offensive attack. Really, really want to get some points on the board here on this next drive.
False start. Kicking team number 42. 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
So since Kennesaw State, Caleb, scored on 3 of its first 4 possessions, it's read like this: fumble, missed field goal, to half, punt, and now punting again.
After a hot start like that, that's not what you want, especially coming out half. Get your team rested up. But
Hewitt with a good hook after the punt, and it's down to the 11-yard line. 48 yards from the senior Joshua Hewitt, who's excited on the sideline. Blue Raiders with the ball following this. Here's out of the European Football League. And in 2023, he and Mason reunited in Paris. Mason, his year out of coaching, working as an analyst for the SEC Network, came to visit Mattioli across the pond. See Mason, the head coach for Middle Tennessee, and the two talking to each other. Both acknowledge the other. It's like family. Oh, that's a brother to me. See Mason and Mattioli, 6 years at Vandy, 2 at Stanford. There they are, Game 5 of 2023 for Mark Mattioli with the Paris Musketeers. A game in which, for the first time, he took over offensive play calling in addition to being the head coach and calling the defense. The two, so much respect and love for each other. Mason hired Mattioli as a GA at Stanford way back in the early 2010s when Stanford was in its heyday in the old Pac-12. Incompletion there, and a big hit from Garland Binyard on Miles Butler.
And it's stories like that, Nolan, that you see all across the game of football of, yeah, these teams are foes going against each other. We see the big hit right here by Binyard. Boom, right after we just talked about him and his brother. But you see it across football. Guys, they're on opposite teams, opposite sidelines, but off the field, it's all love. They care about each other, and they invest in each other each and every week, except for maybe 1 week a year.
Yep. And Mattioli acknowledged there is something there with the whole mind game of knowing someone else, but maybe not as much as fans would expect, as that gain only goes for a couple. And Mattioli's smart. All conference at Rhodes College, actually took the LSAT, was a paralegal for about 10 months, said, I'm not into this, I want to coach football, and took the hot pipeline from LaGrange College to Stanford. After politicking at the AFCA convention in Charlotte, found somebody with a Stanford bag and said, hey, I want to work there. Wrote some letters, accepted to grad school first, and then found his way. And now his defense looks to do what it did in the second half against Arkansas State and put the clamps down here with a 3rd and 8 for the Blue Raiders.
What a true example of perseverance there by Coach Mattioli.
Vadiato perseveres there in the pocket and picks up the first down to Cameron Lacey. First catch of the day for the Toccoa, Georgia native.
And again, another cross-field hash to far sideline throw. Just unwavering faith in their quarterback, Nick Vadiato, to just deliver that pass right there at the sticks and pick up the first down deep in the enemy or your own territory.
Just the third down conversion for the Blue Raiders. Can it ignite a drive here on 1st down? Taylor on the handoff, wants the left side, and he won't get it there. Nice play from Juan Silas. The linebacker out of Athens bringing him down for a short gain.
And this is the point in the game where the momentum starts to build again. There hasn't been any significant big plays. There hasn't been anything out of the ordinary or anything explosive. This is where a ball player and a team can make a difference in the outcome of this game in a time, in a moment like this.
We haven't seen this formation tonight for Middle Tennessee. A receiver stacked up. Vadiato on the draw, through the middle, and it's 3rd down.
Five Hamilton flying in there at the last second to bring Vadiato down by his shoestrings. Hamilton seems to be showing up in big moments tonight, Nolan.
Had an interception in the waning seconds of the first half at the 1-yard line, preventing a score from the Blue Raiders. Now move past Kennesaw State in total yardage. Already picked up a 3rd and long in this drive on a pass to Lacey.
And Coach Reeder of MTSU has called a lot of levels routes on 3rd down.
Down the middle, back to Lacey once again, and a 1st down once more for Middle Tennessee.
Wasn't a true levels concept, but it was a middle attacking concept as the Owls went too high and dropped their linebackers. And as a quarterback, all you're doing is looking open window, close window. You know your guys coming across the field. You see the Owls are in zone defense. So you find your window where there's we can throw the ball and you deliver it to your man.
Pumps, then checks it down on the left side. Lacey, another snag, and Lacey puts the defenders on skates. He gains 9 on 1st down and reaches the 50.
Break out the PlayStation and the left thumbstick right there, or right thumbstick, excuse me. Great job there by Lacey to make something after that catch.
He's hit both.
I know, hit both of them at the same time. But either way, great job by him, and a lot of wiggle in that man.
You talk about some plays, some players can change the course of this game. Right now, it's Vadiato to Lacey on this drive. 3 hookups for the Blue Raiders. And play caller's dream, 2nd and short at the 50. This is where teams sometimes take a shot. They don't. Middlebrook on the handoff, cutting upfield and nearly breaking another tackle. Jamar Rux hanging on for dear life as the Blue Raiders move the sticks.
You make a move like that and you break free, you don't need to take a shot because that's your man right there. You got Middlebrook, who doesn't look tired, doesn't look phased at all, looks like he's ready to rock.
Vadiato taking a shot here down the right side. Washington in coverage and breaks it up, intended for Walker. And we've got a flag down on the KSU sideline.
Illegal substitution, defense. More than 11 players on the field at the snap. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
And a tough break for the KSU defense with an illegal substitution.
And the Blue Raiders giving KSU a little bit of a taste of their own medicine, going fast, not allowing you to sub. And you see it, again, Vadiato is a veteran. You know it happens. You get the snap off quick, take a shot down the field, throw one up, because regardless of how it's caught, not caught, intercepted, doesn't matter. It's getting tacked on at the end of the run or into the play regardless.
Good point there, Caleb. This is a team that has milked the clock tonight. So many times under 5 seconds when they get the snap off. Vadiato checks it down. Middlebrook with the catch. And Middlebrook spins his way for a first down. A shifty move from Jakail Middlebrook, who gets to make a homecoming here out of Langston Hughes High School in Fayetteville.
And Middlebrook looked dead in his tracks there. I don't even know what you would call that move, but he did a great job of picking up that first down. And Vadiato, again, nobody open downfield, hit your check down, make the smart decision.
Quick pass. Cameron Lacey, another snag, and Middle Tennessee has become automatic on this drive since picking up a pair of 3rd and longs.
And Vadiato with the hot hand, he's dealing that ball around well. He's seeing the field, he's making his reads, being accurate with the ball, getting it on upfield shoulder, setting guys down in windows, doing a great job of commanding this offense.
Over 10 plays in the drive for Middle Tennessee. And over 200 yards passing for Vadiato. Had 299 last week in the loss to Marshall and Murfreesboro. That was his season best. Lacey in motion. Vadiato fakes it to him. All day to throw, and he finds the open man. Tipton with the hurdle at the 15-yard line. Hunter Tipton remains alive and powers his way to a 1st and goal at the 9.
And you see here, you see Vadiato look back for the throwback. There was a wheel route going up the sideline with Westbrook, and then Tipton back to his jumping ways again, scoots up in the air, picks up the first down, and makes a great play.
We head to the 4th quarter. Middle Tennessee trailing in the scoreboard, but has the momentum and a 1st and goal to go situation in the Conference USA opener. 4th quarter action in the lid lifter for Middle Tennessee at Kennesaw State in Conference USA play. 21-10, the same score that we had at the break. As we get set for the final 15 here from Wallace Family Field at Fifth Third Stadium, Middle Tennessee. With a 1st and goal situation, 11 plays, 80 yards on this drive, eating up almost 6 minutes off the clock. Vadiato, the veteran quarterback, gives to Middlebrook right through the middle. He breaks through the defense and scores for the Blue Raiders. Down 21-3 after the 1st quarter, Middle Tennessee has made it a 1-score ball game to start the 4th.
And between Middlebrook, Vadiato, and Lacey, that drive right there, the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders were unstoppable, executing at a very high level. No penalties to slow them down as we'd seen earlier in the game. And they're going for 2.
Going for 2, trying to make it a field goal ball game.
It's all about momentum. When you get the hot hand, you better strike while the iron's hot.
Vadiato, quick pass, caught, and it is no, he dropped it. Butler dropped the two-point conversions, no good.
And there was some confusion on the back end of the Kennesaw State defense. You had Hamilton abandon his left side of the defense, sprinting to the other side.
Vadiato, open man, Butler has it broken up from Washington. One-score ball game in Kennesaw.
Offensive linemen created their own peanut butter. Look at this. It's called the Blindside Spread, and I'm going to read this off for you. It's made of Nutella, homemade Oreo peanut butter, marshmallow fluff, Oreos, milk chocolate chips, and caramel bits. How fun. They sell it at the local farmers market in Murfreesboro, and I'll turn it around so you guys can see it. Not your typical peanut butter, but it's a way for them to make more money through NIL. So this was a way that they were able to do that. And I'm going to do a little taste test for you guys, so hang on. Okay, I got pretty much all marshmallow fluff, but it's pretty good.
Well, Lexi, going ahead and come up here to the booth. We'll add into it. Nice work there, Lexi, in the Middle Tennessee State offensive line. Good use of entrepreneurship in this day and age of college football. And after Jaquel Middlebrook carved through the KSU defense like a knife through hot peanut butter, it's a one-score ball game.
And props to the offensive line. Coach Bodie Breeder and Derek Mason each talked about how they are a cohesive unit up front. They're all tight-knit, they're boys, and you see them all there crowding around Middlebrook, supporting their guy that they just paved the way right into the end zone for. You love to see that.
We'll see how much of that peanut butter's left come the end of the fourth quarter. Good thing I'm not down there.
If it makes its way up here, it might disappear real fast.
Odom working his way to the 33-yard line. Gain of 8. Shakai Woods chasing him down for the Blue Raiders. Kennesaw State, again, still has not scored since erupting for a 21-3 lead in the first quarter. Somewhat similar story last week against Arkansas State. Coleman Bennett, the leading rusher for the Owls, is tussled down with a first down.
And the Owls going back with the speed, Nolan, you touched on it. They haven't had this type of speed since earlier in the first half, specifically the first quarter, and this is when the Owls can really get things rolling when they get their speed back.
Over 90 yards for Bennett on the ground, looking to cross the century mark. Here for KSU, it's Parker Hughes, leading tackler on the defense tonight with his 7th stop.
And again, times like this in the ball game, you got to protect the football. The Owls had it happen to them last week. A couple balls leaked out in a situation and time of the game like this in a close game. Those are little things like that that the coaching staff focused on all week. Of you got to protect the football, especially when we're trying to sustain a drive.
Quick pass to Binyard. Breaks one tackle, and then he's stuffed for just a 2-yard gain. Jackson Lowe, the redshirt freshman out of Brentwood, Tennessee, with a good stop there, 2nd down.
And those quick screen passes like that from Coach Militello's offense, you get the ball out on the perimeter, let your guy make a play, but also it's setting up another play down the road. We talked about it in the first half on some of those plays by Middle Tennessee, but we're going to see it probably later in the Kennesaw State offense as well. They'll get in that same formation, pump fake a throw, and try to sneak somebody out the backside of the defense for a big shot down the field.
So it's 3rd down, 3rd and 8 for the Owl offense. Odom has some time, finds an open man down the middle. Clayton Kopic Jr., the freshman out of Atlanta, picks up a 1st down inside Blue Raider territory.
And the Owls went with a mesh concept underneath, but then they also had a hunt route come over and just stop dead over where the ball was originally snapped. That's to clear out the defense. If you like it short, give it to him. If not, hit him in the middle and let your guy pick up the 1st down for you.
Javon Rogers with the snag. His first, loses the football out of bounds, but that's a 1st down for KSU.
Like I said, you got to protect that football. Great job there by the MTSU defense to try to get the ball and knock it out. But again, the Owls going fast, getting the defense on their heels. They subbed now, but they haven't subbed in a few plays. You got some guys tired, breathing hard. That's the perfect time to strike and attack a defense. Or if you're on the offense, or if you're on the defensive side, to make a big play on defense as well.
Amari Odom's only missed on 5 throws. He's rushed for 34 in the ground. Tykeem Wallace into the backfield. Odom drifting, checks it down, and Bennett's unable to pull it down.
Odom seemed to get a little comfortable there as he just sort of backpedaled and threw off his back foot, and that ball sailed on him. It's one of those little things that can make a big difference. When you throw off your back foot and you don't really step into it, that ball can easily sail, as it did there, and cause you to essentially waste it down, and with it being 2nd and 10 now.
Owls looking to answer the Middle Tennessee score from Ja'Kale Middlebrook. On the ground to Coleman Bennett. And Bennett cannot get out of the grasp of Simpson Smith. 3rd down.
And Hughes did a great job there. He didn't make the tackle, but he turned him back in.
Look at the defensive coordinator, Brian Stewart, and Derek Mason.
Fired up about something, and you'd love to see the passion of this game, especially from the coaches, a head coach and a coordinator, down there on the field, in the thick of it, fired up. And those are reasons why you'd like to think that's the reason there's been stops on defense here. Is it's 3rd and 10.
On 3rd down, Odom dishes it off to Gabe Binyard, and Binyard scoots upfield. And the spot is short of the 1st down marker. It's 4th down here for KSU.
And the whole offense of KSU was begging to go for it there, and I'm sure Binyard would want that one back, as he knew he was on the sideline. He knew the down and distance. He was trying hard.
Look at that there for Odom. You see it with the left hand. He's ambidextrous. First time we've seen it from the southpaw side. And Britton Williams on for the field goal. 0 of 1 tonight. This from 39 yards. Hold us down, and Williams with the field goal. Got it. 8-point lead for the Owls with a 39-yard field goal from Britton Williams. 10:43 to go here in Kennesaw. Kennesaw State quarterback Amari Odom trying to will his team on a scoring drive here for the first time since the 4th quarter. Takes a big hit there, Caleb.
Yeah, Shakai Woods, the nose tackle, number 98, 279 pounds, comes down on him, and then the next play he gets to throw the ball, throws it with his non-dominant hand, gets caught off, doesn't even pick his arm up here. When you go down on a shoulder like that, the physics of it, you see it all the time. Usually nothing happens, but occasionally it's not a good look for your QB1 to get smushed down in that angle.
Williams following the 39-yard field goal with the kickoff. And the Blue Raiders and Gaston bring it out. And he's finally tugged down shy of the 25. We spoke with the offensive coordinator, Mitch Militello, and asked him about the ambidextry of Amari Odom. He said, well, he says he is. Wasn't fully confident in that. And of course, you don't want to see it on the football field, and that time you did. Then from Amari Odom with the completion to Gabe Binyard. Tonight, good numbers for Odom. Over 160-yard passing, had 308 last week to tie the Kennesaw State single-game record. Hasn't had to rely on his legs as much tonight with 34 rushing yards for the first-year starter and Wofford transfer. Meanwhile, Vadiato and the Blue Raiders pick up the low snap. Those have been a struggle all night long. And Kennesaw State hurries over to the receiver, Walker, following the catch.
And a great recovery there by Vadiato. Like you said, Nolan, as a quarterback, it gets you off rhythm, it gets you out of sync, and to get that ball out, and it was even on Walker's back hip, and Walker kind of fumbled the catch as well. It's just a domino effect when a snap is off like that, and it can drastically affect the execution on any given play.
And there's been some shuffling along the O-line here in this ball game, and even heading into it. 2nd and 7 for the Blue Raiders. Now to the stacked look. Four-man rush. Vadiato deals. Tipton's wide open in front of the Owls bench, and Tipton's brought down by Jones. A 1st and 10 at the 45.
And there it was. We talked about it on those quick screens. Kennesaw uses it. Middle Tennessee uses it. You give a quick pump fake on the sideline. The Owls overcommit. As you see right here, Drico Washington Jr. goes up for it. Turns around. Whole shot by the QB as the safeties are playing back. And then what do you know? Big gain, pick up a 1st down, get close to enemy territory to cross over the 50. That's how you draw it up.
1 catch a week ago against Marshall, 7 of the season, 3 tonight. A dangerous play there. Catch is made by Butler, who swallowed up in the backfield for a TFL. 5 Hamilton's had himself a nice game. Comes up with a stop in the backfield.
And just copy and paste, except actually throw it this time. But the KSU defense was all over it. 5 Hamilton showing up in big-time moments tonight. We touched on it earlier as well. But again, that's just setting it up. You're seeing the commitment. You're seeing how the defense is reacting to it. At some point, I look for them to come back to that on another shot over the top.
Bodie Reeder, the offensive coordinator, felt like he got his big break in college football under Mike Gundy, now the ex-head coach at Oklahoma State after 21 years. Vadiato still eyeing downfield. Flag is down. Waha chasing him out of bounds.
And it looked as if it's probably a hold or face mask potentially. Illegal hands at the face by Joseph Habanowski, number 4, the right tackle for the offensive line.
Holding offense number 74. 10-yard penalty remains 2nd down.
Rodney Burnett with the call there. Hold on Habanowski, as you said.
Sit on your right side of the screen. That jersey stretching, and when he goes to pull away, you see that jersey pulled. And a thing that is a very missed detail, but whenever you have the opposite colored gloves and you're blocking somebody, KSU's in their black jerseys, Middle Tennessee's in their white jerseys with white matching gloves. Those hands stick out like a neon sign on those black jerseys, and it's like a whole thing that it gets called more when you have a contrasting color.
Quick screen pass. Lacey couldn't handle it. Hot potato on the far side of the field, and Offord could not come down with the interception. Oh, man. Middle Tennessee. Sigh of relief.
Tip drill on the edge, and Vadiato put some heat on that ball, and as a receiver, you're coming in there. Lacey's like, oh, man, that ball's coming in hot. Sometimes you get a little timid and get your hands a little tight instead of just absorbing the catch, and it turns into a tip drill, especially in a dangerous situation like that, like a screen play with folks flying all over the place. You never know what could happen when that ball starts getting tipped around.
3rd and back to the state line for Middle Tennessee. They've struggled tonight on 3rd downs, but better here in the second half. 4-man rush. Vadiato deals down the middle at midfield. Lacey with a catch at the 50. It's short of the marker, but it makes for an interesting situation.
Again, you're back in no man's land where do you really want to punt that bad? Do you want to go for it? And you never know what's going to call.
And the punting unit trots on the field. A 4th and 7 as Vadiato's met on the sideline.
And
Lacey following the catch. You see him in the punt formation.
Yeah, it seems like for each defense tonight, the 50-yard line might as well have been the goal line. It's the red zone. There, everybody's coming up with stops right there around the 50.
Lacey pulled into the formation. And they run the fake. Oh, they shovel it ahead. Middle Tennessee picks up the 1st down to Lacey, who's alive down the sideline. And Lacey converts on the 4th down fake punt. We just talked about Lacey. Keep your eye on him. And Middle Tennessee with a beautifully designed fake punt.
Must have been something in the air tonight because we've talked about it 4 or 5 times. Nolan, you peeped Lacey staying in the formation. And what do you know? The shovel pass that's been taking college football by storm this year comes right back in it, converts a huge 4th down conversion from the 48-yard line. Adds a little new life into this Middle Tennessee State offense.
27 yards on the shovel ahead to Cameron Lacey. And what does this do if you're an offense after you see that fake punt?
Oh, you're fired up. You're full of energy. You cannot wait to get back out on the field. You practice those plays since fall camp, and you finally get a chance to use it, and you get a second chance to redeem yourself.
Back on the ground, Middlebrook makes a man miss. Quickly cuts upfield, and Middlebrook twists his way to the 16-yard line.
And you see Middlebrook right there. He alone has that different energy. He's running with command. He sticks his foot in the ground, cuts it back, cuts upfield. He's running confident, and that's the biggest thing. When you get that rush of, hey, we got it, we got the big gain, everyone is just filled with confidence and gets that second chance.
Middlebrook over his numbers last week. He had 6 carries for 89 yards against the Thundering Herd. Now 19 carries, just shy of the century mark. Back to Middlebrook, over 100 yards, and Middlebrook takes the defense head on to the 10-yard line.
And the passing game here, especially on this drive, has been a little bit, who knows, maybe they really only had that big play on the pump fake and the shot down the sideline. Yep. Hey, the ball's not flying your way. Guess what? Hand it off to your boy Westbrook and let him put the team on his back here on this drive, and he's doing a great job of that.
Following the peanut butter makers up front. 1st and goal for Middle Tennessee. Down by 8. Blue Raiders just scored from 9 yards out by Middlebrook to start the 4th. Went for the 2-point conversion and missed on a drop by Butler. Here comes the blitz and a loose football on the ground. Vadiato picks it up and he falls down to the turf. A whole host of gold hats in his grill, and it's 2nd and goal.
And Vadiato saw him coming, knew he had to get out of there fast, get rid of the ball quickly. He was looking for his boy Cox there on the far left side, on the near side. He was going one-on-one coverage, but you fumble a snap like that and the whole host of owls coming at you, best thing you can do is stay down, protect the football, give your offense a chance to score or even kick a field goal if you have to.
And you still wonder, all those low snaps, did that affect Vadiato as well, picking that up near his knees, seeing the blitz coming?
Has to.
2nd and goal from the 16. Jones in motion. Middlebrook on the ground through the right side, and Middlebrook is down to the 11. He gets 5 on the play. Barrett Hobson, the team's leading tackler for KSU, forces a 3rd and goal. Middle Tennessee kept the drive alive on a 27-yard fake punch shovel to Cameron Lacey. Already scoring once here in the 4th, trying to erase what was an 18-point deficit to start the 2nd stanza.
There's not very many 3rd and goal from the 12 plays on a call sheet. Let's see what they come up with here.
Vadiato with pressure, throws, end zone, incomplete in front of the pylon. Hamilton in coverage against Butler, 4th and goal.
And Vadiato was on point with that throw. He read the coverage of on the defense there, put the ball on his back shoulder, allowed Butler to make the turn, keep the ball away from the defender, use his body to shield the defender, and just barely out of his grasp. A game of inches, Nolan.
Middle Tennessee 2 for 2 on 4th downs. But this the biggest, a 4th and goal from the 11 of KSU. The snap to Vadiato. He throws down the middle. It's tipped away, incomplete. Another breakup for 5 Hamilton, who had an interception at the goal line to close the 1st half, and he comes up clutch on 4th down.
Nolan, you might as well get out your crystal ball. Hamilton has been all over the place. When a big-time play is needed, 5 Hamilton has delivered for the Kennesaw State Owls.
The aptly named Nickelback, 5 Hamilton, breaks it up. And the Owls defense bends, but no break. Middle Tennessee, 4th and goal from the 11. Can't convert. Pass intended for Jones, and it's Hamilton who breaks it up, and then Derek Mason, head coach of the Blue Raiders, displeased with his wide receiver out of Ontario. And Amari Odom not in this series for Kennesaw State as the Owls hand it off on first down. We showed you a little bit ago Odom falling on his right shoulder, then passing with his left hand. And Dexter Williams for Kennesaw State, who was the starter to begin this year, listed as questionable on the availability report, is not dressed out in the sideline. And so for Kennesaw State, it's the transfer out of Kent State, Tommy Ulatowski, who started last year for the Golden Flashes, had some big moments, comes in here in a 4-minute drill for this KSU offense.
And Tommy's a guy who's been on the sideline. He's been signal calling. He's been talking with folks. He's been keeping the morale up. And now he gets an opportunity to go in there and run the show.
And he has the quarterback keeper, tries for the right side, and he's almost able to get out of the grasp of Butts. He does, but the Blue Raiders come in hot and bring him down at the 15-yard line, and Derek Mason calls the timeout with under 3 to go.
And if you're the Blue Raiders, this is a huge opportunity for you, saying, hey, a third-string quarterback is in. Let's go put some pressure on him, burn a couple of these timeouts, get the ball back, use the 2-minute timeout. You never know.
You see Ulatowski talking with Odom, and again, here's Amari Odom on a rush earlier. You see that right shoulder tugging at it, and this on third down throws with the other hand. Ambidextrous quarterback with the left hand. And that was the last series for Kennesaw State, a 39-yard field goal from Britton Williams, then Odom into the tent to be evaluated.
And that's still an impressive throw to make with your non-dominant hand on the run accurately with somewhat of a pretty good spiral.
And for Ulatowski, he talked about being in the situation, began his career at Kent State as a PWO, became the starter thanks to 2 season-ending injuries to the Golden Flashes quarterbacks. And he's got a 3rd and 6 here for this KSU offense. Fakes it, and he throws to the tight end. Gerard Bullock Jr. is quickly tracked down, well shy of the marker. John House IV, the Vandy transfer, makes it 4th down.
And Ulatowski, Nolan, like you said, no stranger to coming in off of an injury. He's done it.
That's their second, 30 seconds.
Multiple times throughout his career. And you see him here, they let him throw the ball early, got it out in front of Bullock Jr., but nowhere to go with it. As the defense is all over that one. And, you know, this is a moment, like I said, the MTSU sideline was probably fired up, excited. Hey, let's put pressure on him. Let's get the ball back, use the 2-minute timeout to our advantage, see what we can make happen here.
So Bullock tackled inbounds from House IV. And Mason uses his 2nd timeout. So 1 remaining for the Blue Raiders plus that 2-minute timeout you just referenced. Joshua Hewitt to punt. See Jerry Mack huddling up on the sideline. A spinner. And picked up by the Blue Raiders on the far side of the field. Could have been a dangerous play there. Abdul Muhammad grabbing it for MTSU. 39-yard punt. Blue Raiders with the football near midfield with 2:44 to go. Having outscored Kennesaw State 13-3 since the end of the first quarter. But you look at MTSU, they said, we want to be better in the red zone. And we even asked, like, what's the statistic you want? He said, just touchdowns. Doesn't matter. Points, touchdowns, 6 points. Interception at the 1-yard line by 5 Hamilton, and the most recently turnover on downs on a PBU by 5 Hamilton.
And if you want to factor in that 2-point conversion, that was a failed attempt earlier as well.
Good point.
Add that one to the tally there. And in terms of the goal board, you're going to walk in tomorrow and see in the meeting room, it's not going to be checked off, but they've got the ball back, down 8. Perfect opportunity to tie this ball game up and get back.
Vadiato with the play action, long pass, looking for Lacey. He's got him at the 35-yard line. Cameron Lacey, 7th catch of the day. Here come the Blue Raiders once again.
Just a downfield, ran a vert to run, or a post to run off the safety. Big outbreaking route, let Vadiato spread the ball out, get him to the sideline, throw your receiver open, pick up the 1st down, and live to fight another play.
Huge game for Lacey. 5 catches in the season entering tonight. Now 7 at Kennesaw State. Back to Lacey once more, and Caleb Offord crashes in from his cornerback spot. We've reached the 2-minute timeout, and we've got a good one to start Conference USA play. One-score ball game with 2 to go in the saw. 8-point lead for Kennesaw State at the 2-minute timeout. But Caleb, the way this one started, it looked like a blowout. Christian Moss to Gerard Bullock, receiver to tight end, and then Chase Belcher maintaining the balance act. Quickly 14-0 Owls. It was 21-3 after the first quarter with Odom to Binyard. But then this fourth down conversion, Middlebrook scores to start the fourth. They go back to the star tailback, Vadiato. They go for 2. Butler can't hang on to the fastball, and that's where we stand, 24-16. What a comeback here for MTSU, but KSU looking for another defensive hold in the same situation they were a week ago.
And last week, Nolan, it's a chance to learn from your successes, right? Coach Mack talked about it at halftime. You have to earn the right to win, and you have to learn how to win. Each of these teams looking for a conference win here tonight, and here's an opportunity for each team to earn their right to win.
Quarterbacks up on the line of scrimmage against these receivers. Vadiato, one-on-one ball for Cox, and it's broken up. Caleb Offord with the PBU. Boy, Offord continues to have a fantastic season for the Mississippi native, and it's 3rd down.
And you can't play that better if you're Caleb Offord. You see him there in phase with the receiver, shoulder to shoulder, slightly in front of him to where if they throw a back shoulder ball, you can plant and come back. He does a great job keeping his man on his hip, keeping his eyes back as the ball's in the air, making a play on the football. No pass interference, didn't give the receiver a chance to catch the ball. Textbook technique.
Gotta have it here on a 3rd and long. Vadiato against the blitz. Vadiato's hit and he shovels it forward, and that rules incomplete. It's 4th down. Tylon Dunlap, the senior out of Charlotte, North Carolina, harassing Vadiato. It's 4th down.
And Vadiato, knowing he has to get the ball out to try to pick up any yardage he can, tried to do the little flip, the Josh Allen forwards flip, and couldn't get the ball out. And that's a hard play to make, especially if your hands aren't as big as someone's like Josh Allen's. But it all comes down to this. Nolan, 4th down is what you dream of when you're playing in the backyard as a little kid. It's 4th down into the game. Who's going to make a play?
The KSU defense held in this situation a week ago. MTSU just missed a 4th and 11 to go in the previous drive. Vadiato on the deep drop. He slings it down the middle. It's incomplete. Broken up by Caleb Offord. Offord in the Owls answer the challenge yet again.
And again, you don't like to see a young man running off the field the way he is, but again, perfect textbook technique by Caleb Offord. As you see here, right in phase, wraps the left arm around the receiver, right arm swipes across the ball on the upfield shoulder. Textbook technique once again by number 2, Caleb Offord.
From Notre Dame to Buffalo to Alabama State and now Kennesaw State. 15th in the FBS, tied for 2nd in Conference USA with 5 PBUs coming into this contest. And they've won against Offord. He has not been afraid of the challenge one bit. 3 pass breakups on the night, a career high for Caleb Offord. And if you're Tommy Ewell and the Owls here in possession.
And if you're Tommy Ulatowski here and you're Kennesaw State offense, just get the 1st down. Pick up the 1st down, make them burn their timeout, and then you're golden.
That's exactly what they do, handing it off to Coleman Bennett.
Timeout, Middle Tennessee. That's their 3rd, 30-second. Please reset the game clock to 1:38.
So Middle Tennessee uses its final timeout. Here in the Conference USA opener, Kennesaw State's won 2 in a row. Its 2nd year in the FBS and Conference USA, 1st under Jerry Mack. Looking to make it a win streak of 3 in a row, move above 500. The first time as a member of the FBS. And Middle Tennessee, it's been a tough start to the year. A great comeback at Nevada. Year 2 under Derek Mason. Right here in danger of starting 1-4.
And Coach Mason talked about it this week in that second year is always a bit tipsy-turvy in how it can go, and that the first year is always brand new and you're figuring things out, you're figuring your team out. And that second year, it's always a little challenging to see how it's going to go and can change depending on the season.
And Tommy Ulatowski takes the knee, drains some more clock. As Kennesaw State will play the math game here and look to run it out in its Conference USA opener.
And you see that deep snap there. It's just to get an extra few seconds off the clock, cut it down even more to where if they do get the ball back, maybe it's 1 second, 2 seconds, and it's a punt and they have to return it, and that's all you're going to give them is a chance to return a punt if it even makes it to that far.
Ulatowski is running around taking as much time as he can as he's hit after he takes the knee. KSU clamoring for a flag.
And that's a dangerous game as a QB there. Running around trying to extend the play as long as you can. They told you, hey, don't get hit, but to extend it as long as you can. He drops down real fast. The guy's got his momentum coming, taking an extra lick that you wouldn't like to take.
It's Reggie Johnson out of Los Angeles. So the difference here, about 5 seconds. And a 4th and 32. Might the Owls take their final timeout to let this tick down as much as they can. They do snap it. Ulatowski looking to drain the clock, just throws up the ball, and we've reached all zeros in the Conference USA opener. Kennesaw State wins its homecoming game over Middle Tennessee and moves to 3-2 on the year. Start fast, end strong. The black and gold prevailed 24-16.
Quarterback was outside the pocket.
And you can't ask for a better start to a season if you're Coach Jerry Mack. Your first conference opener win since 2022 for the Owls, and your most win in an FBS season, 2 in a row after a non-conference win last week, and make that 3 wins in a row for this Kennesaw State football team.
And Lexi Bowden's on the field with the winning head coach, Jerry Mack. Lexi.
Hey, Coach, just an incredible performance on defense by Hamilton and Caleb Alford with some huge pass breakups. What did you like about their performances tonight?
Man, those guys showed grit. They showed toughness down the stretch. Just like last week, defense came through. They continue to keep showing the resilience and the things that we're going to need to continue to showcase that we're growing as a program.
21 of your 24 points scored in the first quarter. How did your defense just keep you in this game?
Man, that's a compliment to the coaching staff and those players on the grass. Like Coach Matiola and that defensive staff, they did a heck of a job of putting a great plan together. We knew what to expect several times throughout the course of that game. Great preparation throughout the week in all parts.
First conference win as head coach of Kennesaw State. Just what are the emotions that you have right now?
Man, I'm more excited for these guys. And the effort and the way they worked is more important than anything else. But it just shows that, like, we can be as good as we want to be, as fast as we want to be. All we got to do is continue to keep putting in the day-to-day grind and the work.
How do you hope the momentum from this win carries forward?
We take it one step at a time. Like, this is a great win. We're going to enjoy it. We got a little time off over the next couple of days until we play La Tech. But, like, right now, we're going to enjoy it, go back to work, heal up some of these bumps and bruises. Man, just what a great job on all parts.
I can tell everyone's very happy about this win. Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, we've got 5 Hamilton next to me right now. An incredible pass breakup in the fourth quarter on 4th and goal. What was going through your mind on that drive?
Just make it stop. Just be there for my team. You know, we've been fighting all game, so I just had to be there and make a play for my team.
And a fiery start to this game with 21 points scored in that first quarter, but had to hold on until the end of the game. What is the conversation on the defense just to keep your team spirits up?
Hey, just keep fighting. You know, it's going to be a long game, 4 quarters. You know, we was up first half, you know, but we just kept fighting. Play every quarter, just keep fighting.
First conference win, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot. I can't thank my teammates, my coaches, everybody, the whole Kennesaw organization, and the fan. Can't forget about the fan.
Of course, homecoming, it's a fun night. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Lexi. Kennesaw State, it is a fun homecoming for its fans. And Middle Tennessee comes down the road from Murfreesboro, comes up 8 points short. Owls started fast, ended strong, and prevail, and the league lid lifter 3 in a row before the weekday CUSA gauntlet in October. For our entire production crew, led by Sanders Sullivan and Brandon Bedford, Lexi Bout on the sidelines, my partner Caleb O'Neill, I'm Nolan Alexander.